Veteran place kicker. His job was endangered this summer by Tony Zendejas. He beat out Zendejas and now will oppose the young kicker who is a member of the Houston Oilers, Zendejas.
Get a chance to watch the Houston Oilers pick it up and bring it back. I bet some young hearts are really pumping out there as they get ready for this kickoff. This crowd, by the way, really feels that they can have an impact on the game. They feel that they can help their team to win. And you'll sense that during the game. They're right on top of the field.
Steve Tasker and Willie Drury are deep as the opening kickoff lands in the arms of Drury at the 7. And he breaks momentarily into the clear out to the 29-yard line before he's wrestled down by newly acquired Ken Jenkins, a former Detroit Lion. Warren Moon, the #1 man for the Oilers, with Butch Wolford, the former Giant. Larry Moriarty signed just 2 weeks ago. Excellent blocking back. Tim Smith, leading receiver. Drew Hill from the Rams. Tight end Jamie Williams. The front 5, young and strong. Eric Moran, Mike Munchak, Jim Romano, John Schumacher, and Bruce Matthews. Dean Steinkuhler could play today, #1 draft pick a year ago. From the 29, the call is to Wolford for 2 tough yards up the middle. Mel Kaufman spearheading the charge for the Redskins. And here is how Washington aligns itself defensively. The 4-man front: Mann, Butts, Grant, and Manley. The linebackers led by the leading tackler Olkowitz, with Kaufman and Malott on the outside. At the corners, Darrell Green and Vernon Dean, with veteran Tony Peters and Curtis Jordan at safety. 2nd and 8. Moon's first throw, and it's knocked away by Vernon Dean. Good play by Dean, intended on the far side for Drew Hill.
Dick, both teams talked very quickly and immediately when you ask them about the key to this game, about the running game. There's no question that Joe Gibbs said, in fact, we start with the running game. We want to stop people from running against us defensively. We want to establish the running game. They want to control the line of scrimmage. Warren Moon said the same thing when I talked to him today. We've got to be able to run the football.
The Oilers come out with 4 wide receivers. Rafael Cherry, a 5th defensive back for Washington. Moon in trouble. And down he goes in the grass was the ruling. Rich Malott got him. Flag is down as well. Moon did not see Malott, the linebacker, coming in on the blind side, and a quick whistle. They ruled he was in the grasp and control of the tackler. And holding is also the call against Houston.
You can almost feel like you're in the secondary. Good blocking inside, but they did not pick up the blitz. Right there, Malott able to get in, get a hold of Moon.
They'll decline the penalty and bring it back out to the 31-yard line. I guess maybe they're calling that an incomplete pass, because they did not mark it at the spot of the sack.
I believe there were 2 flags down. I didn't see the second flag. They're offsetting penalties. Apparently a holding call against the Washington secondary, holding call against the Houston offensive line. So it's going to be 3rd, and we'll play the 3rd and 9 again.
That's a plus for Moon. He gets a second chance. Same formation. Wide receivers, 2 on each side. Too much time. Delay of game. That quick whistle, and unlike years past where it seemed that the NFL teams had an hour to get themselves set, it's not that way now, and it's very, very much like the college rule, 25 seconds, although there still is a 30-second clock. The quickness in which they mark the ball, you better hurry in and out of the huddle. We've talked with coaches. They've noticed it, and certainly we've noticed it in the broadcast booth. Not quite as much time for the replays or the little extra fill-ups that we've had in the past. 5 yards marked off against the Oilers. It'll be 3rd and 14. The referee's microphone apparently malfunctioning. That's why we could not hear the last report on the double foul. Gordon McCarter is our referee today. Long yardage. Wilburn and Cherry are in. 6 defensive backs for the Skins. Dave Buck, the giant tackle, 295 pounds, toppling Moon. And the first series of this game features an outstanding defensive display by the Redskins.
Big Dave Butts from his left tackle position just blew right over the top of Schumacher, and showing amazing quickness for that 310-pound frame. He just got outside. Schumacher could not contain him, and he took Moon to the ground. That's a fine sack, and that's the kind of pressure that these Redskins can put on you with that 4-man rush.
All the way back to the 14-yard line. The series began at the 29, so on 4th and 25. Into punt, barefooted, left-footed kicker Lee Johnson, the rookie from Brigham Young. Rafael Cherry, rookie from Hawaii, at the 40 of Washington. Johnson averaged 42.5 yards per punt last week against Miami. Whoa, he just did get it away, and it's a beauty. Cherry lets it bounce and has to pay the price for it back at the 33-yard line. What a kick by Lee Johnson, as he just did clear the rush of the Redskins and hammered a beauty.
He sees the rush coming from the right side of your picture and just manages to punch that ball out. Boy, that was awfully close. Virtually blowing it out underneath the rush man, Darrell Green, number 28.
41-yard punt. Actually, it was more than that. They start from the 34-yard line. Riggins, and now to Monk on a reverse. Art Monk. All the way to midfield, and a first down. Bo Eason knocking him out of bounds after a 16-yard play.
A very eager young defensive team. And the way to take advantage of it, get them started to their left and throw the reverse at them. They give it to the speed to Art Monk. Only one player over there actually did a good job. That's Keith Bostic, 25, who strung it out. It would have been an even bigger gain had he not made an excellent play.
Back on the punt by Johnson, just to get the numbers right. 54 yards on the punt. First down, Washington, midfield. Riggins plowing for 3, and he is hit hard. Let's check the defense now for the Washington Redskins with Joe Theismann. John Riggins, the solo running back. This is in their 2 tight end set, the H-back set. Calvin Muhammad and Art Monk, the wide receivers, with Didier and Warren, the double tight ends. The giant line of Jacoby, Grimm, Donnelly, Huff, and May. 2nd and 7 from the Houston 47. Riggins again for about 4 yards. He'll be shy of the first down by 3 as the blue jersey Oiler defense unpiles. Here's how they set. Childress, the #1 draft pick, rookie at one end. Jesse Baker at the other, with Big Mike Tinsrud on the nose. The 4 linebacker set: Robert Lyles, Avon Riley, Robert Abraham, Johnny Meads, all young, all fast. Cornerback Steve Brown, the AFC Defensive Player of the Week last week, and Patrick Allen, Keith Bostic, and Bo Eason in the secondary. An extremely young defense for Houston. They've really rebuilt in a hurry. 3rd and 3. Theismann wide open. Gary Clark all the way to the 19-yard line. A 23-yard play.
There are 10 new faces on the Redskins for 1985. One of them belongs to number 84, Gary Clark. Starred in the USFL. Shows you some fine footwork and speed there. Got away from Brown, Steve Brown on the outside. Again, a great move. That's Bo Eason, 21, missing the tackle. Great field position.
Redskins driving now to the 20-yard line of the Oilers. That's Didier in motion, and Riggins follows him, but hit from behind, trailing the play. The Oilers, Johnny Meads and Robert Abraham in on the tackle as well. Riggins short yardage. He's approaching a Another milestone is Riggins.
Watch Didier now. He's going to come to the inside, and he's going to stop and reverse and go back into the line to block. Let's turn him loose now. Watch him as he starts inside. He'll cross the center. He'll roll back to the inside, and now he becomes a trapper, like a trapping lineman, working right there on Stensrud on the inside. Actually, Childress, 79.
2nd down and 7. Going for 6. Calvin Muhammad, touchdown. 17 yards, the touchdown Theismann to Calvin Muhammad. Boy, that was an impressive march downfield engineered by the Redskins, and Mark Mosley tacks on the extra point. Timeout, 5 minutes gone, first quarter. Redskins 7, Houston nothing. Doesn't seem like a big difference, those average years for the Oilers and Redskins, but the Redskins are the oldest, second oldest in the league, next to the Raiders and just ahead of the San Francisco 49ers, and the Oilers are way down, one of the very youngest, maybe Indianapolis younger. Redskins tough at home.
No question about it, but you know, going back to the age, 3 years in the NFL can be a lifetime, Vic.
An entire career indeed. Short this kick. Tasker at the 10. Kicking it his way to the 30, 40. Steve Tasker at the 50, and he's all the way to the Washington 38-yard line. Tasker from Northwestern, the number 9 draft pick, and he puts the Oilers in excellent position.
A great example of the speed that we talked about in our opening, and one of the reasons that this team is explosive and a bit frightening even for a veteran team like the Redskins. They can explode on you with that kind of speed, not only on special teams, but also from their wide receivers.
Tasker did a great job of waiting back so that when he caught the ball, he was already at full speed, like an outfielder getting himself set to throw to home plate. Paying the price is Larry Moriarty, who was the number 1 rusher for the Oilers last year, gained 785 yards, then held out, and he gets a couple other scores early. The Bears 7-0 against New England. They're underway in St. Louis, where the Bengals lead 7-0. Detroit a 3-0 lead against Dallas in the first quarter. The Rams 7-0 at Philadelphia. And apparently that's it to this point. Dieter Brock of the Rams and Warren Moon, of course, of the Oilers, migrating down from the Canadian Football League as quarterbacks in the NFL. Good protection. Moon ducks out of bounds at the 31. Mann and Butts applying pressure. Good coverage downfield by the Redskins secondary.
And you really had the feeling that Warren Moon was measuring Dave Butts. Butts is coming to the sideline, and Moon is saying, how much yardage can I get before I need to get out of bounds so that that big son of a gun's not going to hit me?
Well, that's a pretty good measuring stick just to get that 6'7", 295 or so he is listed.
Well, he's about 310. He's well over that 295 number. That's a cosmetic number, Nick.
3rd down, 8. Moon is sacked again at the 41-yard line. Dexter Manley, number 72. Charles Mann was there first and almost had the sack. Forced Moon straight ahead where they nail him for a -4.
The Redskins love to put on the blitz. They came on the warpath on that one. Indeed, they did. Monty Coleman, 51, in there along with Charles Mann. But watch Moon duck under the pressure right here. Just ducks down, is strong enough to pull away. Now, they're lucky they caught him right there, because seeing that, a lot of defensive backs will relax. Sometimes you come back and throw a big one after that.
Rafael Cherry back as Johnson kicks for the 2nd time.
Good kick.
And it bounces out of bounds. Appeared to be around that 10-yard line. right at the 10. Timeout in Washington, 8:21 remaining first quarter. And, of course, Chiefs crown one of the stars last year, winning the Marlboro yesterday. That'll be in November on NBC. First down, Redskins leading 7-0 at their own 10-yard line. Heisman play action. Art Monk, the leading receiver in the National Football League last year when he caught 106, has about 8 yards on that first down play. Steve Brown made the tackle.
We talked about the tough home team record of these Redskins. 14 of their last 15. One of the reasons they're so tough here is because this crowd is so loud, you have trouble getting offensive and defensive signals, and it just amplifies the emotion on the field.
Rams have added a field goal to their lead at Philadelphia. There's a first down, and for the Diesel, John Riggins, that is the 3,000th time in his long career, the oldest running back in the National Football League. Riggins has either rushed or received the ball 3,000 times.
From down on the field, you'll have the feeling of the surge of that big offensive line. 66 Jacoby on Baker there. Baker trying to hold up. Mike Soche, number 72, but the Diesel just plowed in behind him.
First down. Riggins again. Slamming his way across the 30-yard line. Veteran from Kansas. Good carry on first down.
I asked John Riggins yesterday at practice. I said, how's your body, John? He said, well, I'm to the point now, he said, where I make a run, I kind of look over my shoulder to see if I left any parts on the road.
Yeah, the old semi working here in the first quarter. And, of course, George Rogers, acquired from the New Orleans Saints, former Heisman winner, ready to do his job, and we figure to see him in the second quarter. Didier and Warren, double tight end. That's Didier. Excellent speed. But back to Riggins, and he's close to the first down out at the 34-yard line. Detroit 10, Dallas nothing first quarter. That'll please the fans here in the D.C. area.
Larry King talked about that. He said Tex Schramm said when with that kind of
side information as he hears it every Sunday prior to our coverage, along with Messrs. Costas, Axelm, and Rashad. Larry King joins us in '85, our Super Bowl year. Riggins into the clear and all the way to the 49-yard line. Otis Wansley threw a block, and Steve Brown saved a touchdown.
Very often, we give all the credit to the running back, but let's watch Otis Wansley, 39, lead Riggins into the hole. Blocking right there on number 25, Keith Bostic, and he's the man that opened the way for Big John Riggins. And, boy, I'd hate to be out there trying to tackle him one-on-one.
He rumbled for 15 yards and a first down at the 49. Riggins again. He's got running room. 40, 35, 33. 18 more yards for Riggins before Abraham can make the tackle.
The Washington Redskins pulling the guard and tackle from the right side. Ken Huff, 61, and May, 73, coming all the way around. That's student body left in front of Riggins, and you've got a lot of blue shirts over there. That's good pursuit. Unfortunately, that's a lot of yardage before they caught up with him.
First down, and George Rogers has replaced Riggins. Rogers gets the call. And down he goes, just shy of the 30-yard line. Rogers fumbled once last Monday night against the Cowboys, and that disturbed Joe Gibbs. He has one rule, almost top of his list. You don't fumble and stay here in Washington.
Watch the little fake as Rogers starts to his right and goes back left. A different running style. A little bit better on the shaking side. He can move laterally a little better than Riggins, but nobody gets those shoulders square and powers better than Big John.
Rogers again. Good second effort. He's still on his feet all the way for a touchdown. No whistle. Rogers refused to go down, and he emerged out of that defensive crowd for the second Washington touchdown.
Well, if John Reagan is the Diesel, what are you going to call George Rogers? Boxed up inside, he just kept those legs pumping and exploded out through the pack.
Mosley's extra point is blocked. Mosley's endeavor to make it 14-0 smothered by the Oilers. Timeout, 4:23 left, first quarter. Unflappable, Hugh Campbell. Great success with the Edmonton Eskimos up in the CFL, and he watches Steve Tasker, who returned the last kickoff all the way to the Washington 39, have to take the touchback at the 20. Let's go back to George Rogers. What a power run, 31 yards.
You'll see Rogers disappearing into that mound of blue shirts, but watch him pop out on the left side of your screen, refusing to go down. Keeps those feet moving right there. Patrick Allen, 29, had a shot at him right there, and then Rogers turns on the speed. Avon Riley, 53, chasing from behind, and he's got a 4.6 40 speed. He could not catch up with George Rogers.
His first touchdown as a Redskin. It's 13-0. Credit Mike Stensrud, the nose tackle, with blocking the extra point. And again, a penalty before the ball is snapped. See if the microphone
Ball
works.
third, 76, offense.
Yes, it's working. One of the offensive linemen obviously lifting up his hand, getting off too quickly. Eric Moran. Eric has his hands full today with Dexter Manley over there on the right side of that defensive line. And Joe Gibbs, this is really the way he had hoped this game would start. They've started with a hot hand. They've got the crowd involved. They've got it going their way. And there it is. Rushing yardage, 93-4. Controlling the line of scrimmage.
Butch Wolford. Dave Butch was in the backfield and on Wolfick's jersey before Wolfick had a chance to take the second step. Butch shot through there.
Butch showing some real quickness. Now, you'll remember that Butch held out, missed a number of ball games, came in late. Watch him on the left side of your screen. Again, that's Schumacher trying to get a hold of him, but he just blew through there, and you get an idea of how strong Dave Butch is. Got one handful of jersey and jerked a 210-pound back right back to the ground with it.
Eagles score a field goal, 10-3 first quarter. The Ram touchdown came on an 80-yard punt return by Henry Ellard. Moon from his own end zone. Wide open. And a first down from Mike Holston, number 84. Number 3 pick out of Morgan State in 1981. And Holston gets the Oilers their first down. And meanwhile, back at the 5-yard line, a little push and shove between Charles Mann and a group of the Oilers. Larry Moriarty and
Mike Munchak in the middle of that stack as well. No flags on the ground. The officials deciding it was pretty even. Munchak, by the way, I think holds the ticket record here today. 110 tickets. A busload of his relatives from Scranton, Pennsylvania. The players, pretty tough, though. They said, did they bring them down in cold trucks? They wanted to know. 110 tickets for this game. Well, that's a piece of money out of your pocket.
Miami tried to rebound from the loss to the Oilers last week. Draws first blood against the Colts. First down. Wolford. Losing is Neil Oklowitz. Curtis Jordan. Charles Mann all in on the stop of -2.
Dave Butts again. Tremendous penetration. Boy, he is just chewing them up in there. The Houston Oilers very proud of their offensive line, but they're getting chewed up on the line of scrimmage right now by the Redskin rushmen.
In fact, the Redskins have not allowed an opposing back to rush for over 100 yards regular season, except once, Gerald Riggs, in the last 31 games. They're geared to stop the run, and Joe Gibbs wants the team to build the offense around the run. Moon looking long. Incomplete, and a good defensive play by Vernon Dean to knock it away from 85, Drew Hill, former Los Angeles Ram.
The ball slightly underthrown. Now, Drew Hill, excellent speed, had a little room, got out ahead of Vernon Dean. You see it right there, but the ball behind, he had to wait for it. Dean made up the ground and knocked the ball away.
Yeah, that's right. Led a little more, and Hill might have had a touchdown. Boy, they've really rebounded in the past after a Monday night appearance. They're 10-0, are the Redskins, after a Monday night game. Of course, they lost on Monday at Dallas, 44-14. Draw play. Read well by that Redskin defense, and you can bet Dave Butts, yep, there he is, 65, Butts to spoil the Oiler plans.
A big Dave Butts and number 77, Darrell Grant, are like an interior wall, and they have just blocked it up. The Redskins shutting down that running attack. I think the Oilers are probably negative yardage rushing so far in this ball game.
Well, they've had 3 possessions and only 1 first down, and that came on the throw by Warren Moon. Johnson's 3rd punt of the quarter with a minute and a half remaining. Cherry at the other end at the Skins 25. Boy, another great kick. This young man really has a foot. To the 15. Cherry down at the 22. Tackled by Jeff Donaldson. 1 minute, 18 seconds remaining first quarter. Well, the Redskins in hog heaven. That's not a section at RFK. That's a slab of seats. It's first down for Washington at their 23-yard line, leading 13-0 late in the first quarter. Dragged down after about a 7-yard gain. Avon Riley takes care of number 38, George Rogers. Let's go now to New York.
All right, Dick, and it's good to note that some of Pete Axthelm's friends are in attendance today at RFK. Here's the St. Louis game. Look at this nice move by Earl Farrell off the pass from Neil Lomax. He goes 27 yards for the tying touchdown play set up by a Kinnebrew fumble. Bengals and Cards, even at 7. Dick?
All right, Bob, with less than a minute remaining in the first quarter, the Redskins lead 13-0. A play 2nd and 3. Theismann doesn't use the gamble. He just sends it straight ahead with Rogers, the touchdown maker. The 31-yard rumble by Rogers, and he has a first down. Johnny Meads makes the tackle, one of the young linebackers for Houston. Very impressive, the Redskins, in their 2 opening drives. Rogers, the 80 Heisman winner. Mike Rozier now with the Oilers, winning in 83 for the Huskers.
The Redskins have been using 3 tight ends. I've never seen this except in short yardage. They got 3 tight ends out there, and they're stacking, or have been stacking, 2 of those tight ends on one side of the field.
And that is the end of the first quarter here at RFK in Washington, D.C. And the fans are happy about the score. Redskins 13, Oilers nothing. One of the better-kept secrets in the National Football League, Tim Smith, was caught more passes than any wide receiver the last 2 years combined, at 83 2 years ago and 69 last season. But not much offense for the Oilers in this one. First quarter belonging to the Redskins, 13-0. First play of the second quarter, and it's Rogers down at the 37-yard line after a 3-yard carry.
Again, Dick, the Redskins using 3 tight ends. You'll get a chance to see them here on the left-hand side of your screen. 2 tight ends on this side, another tight end on that side, and the Redskins are just going to take the ball and move right over there behind that power blocking. Good job by Rogers of exploding up into there, but again, I've never seen 3 tight ends employed except in short yardage, frequently done in short yardage, but here they're doing it in the middle of the field.
A quick out to Monk. Gallery Monk is to the 41-yard line. He hung up a lot of portraits last year, 106 of them, 7 for touchdowns to break Charlie Hennigan's long record, the former Oiler. There are the first quarter statistics, and as you thought, Merlin, minus yardage rushing for the Oilers.
Well, that certainly is bad news. The one thing you don't want to have to do against these Redskins is be forced to throw the football without the option of running it, and that's exactly where the Oilers have placed themselves. And right now, you have the feeling that the Redskins are going to a body-punching kind of game. They're just going to steamroller this Houston defense.
first down before Jeff Donaldson can make the tackle. It's a first down, Washington at the 49, another 9-yard gain, and Merlin, they're moving at will.
They certainly are. And look what the Houston Oilers are trying to do. They have 9 men right up on the line of scrimmage. They're trying to pressure the Redskins. The Redskins responding with their own pressure. They just go bowling up into the center, and then they throw the little play pass to Warren. Now, that's a tough combination. They look like they're coming at you with a run and just drop back and flick to the tight end.
Rogers into Oiler territory to the 46-yard line. Robert Lyles, in his second year from TCU, made the tackle. The Bills take the early lead against the Jets. Stay with us, of course, throughout the day. We'll be updating all the scores and, of course, have the top plays for you at halftime at NFL 85. Hugh Campbell hopes that the Oilers might get a call, but thus far it's been all Redskins. Monk way out to the near side, and Didier in motion. Rogers inside the 40, and another first down.
What a fine trade that has proved to be for these Redskins, who were concerned about the durability and the age of John Riggin. Now with Rogers in that backfield, they can alternate these two power backs, and certainly Rogers' numbers today would indicate that Riggins may have to use some power to hold on to his job.
Average of 9 yards per carry.
Wow.
Theismann did not like the call and then the defense he saw, so the Redskins spend their first timeout. 11 minutes and 38 seconds remaining in the first half here in beautiful Washington this afternoon. The Redskins lead by 13.
Today's game is brought to you by Honda Motorcycles. Honda, follow the leader. By Coors Light, the silver bullet. There's no slowing down with a silver bullet. And by NCR, who bring you a better personal computer.
.11:38 remaining in this first half, and George Rogers on first down, slamming up the middle, and into number 74, Richard Byrd, and 53, Avon Riley.
Washington Redskins throwing a myriad of formations and all kinds of motion, and their objective very clear: to try and confuse the young defense. Jerry Glanville, the defensive coordinator, concerned about the youth of this defensive team, and boy, they're getting their eyes full of people moving around and jumping to different formations. This is a tough team to play.
Theismann perfect in this first half after he suffered 5 interceptions, a career low against Dallas. Don Warren, and it was Avon Riley, I believe, got a little piece of the ball to deflect it, and then Keith Bostic was there to apply the cruncher just in case.
But watch the hit at the end of this play. Pat's right on target. In fact, Theismann had been on target all day. Watch 25, Bostic right there. Woof. I don't know if I like that, Dick. In fact, going for the head that way really bothers me. I hate to see that. Warren is down on the ground. You don't have to take a man's head off to get the ball out of his hand. Bostic, let's not try and climb inside his head. Maybe he was aiming at the ball, but he got a good piece of Don Warren's head in the process.
Warren okay, but certainly feeling the pinch of that blow right to the face mask. Former San Diego State star and number 4 pick by the Redskins back in 1979. Updating scores, Miami another field goal in the second quarter to lead the Colts 6-0. Miami a huge favorite at home in the Orange Bowl to rebound from their loss at Houston last week. This telecast, presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Washington Redskins and the National Football League is prohibited. Theismann. And the play is over as soon as he goes down at the 25-yard line. Jeff Donaldson there to touch him down, but actually, once that athlete goes down, you're supposed to leave him alone. If he slides feet first, the play is over. A new rule to protect that quarterback. And Theismann showing that those legs of his can still move.
You get a feeling right there for Theismann's ability to run the football, to turn a bad play into a big play. The mobility of a quarterback. We have two very accurate and mobile quarterbacks today on the field.
Theismann gunning it. And Didier has a short yardage play at the 21-yard line. Steve Brown made the hit. Brown from University of Oregon and voted the AFC Defensive Player of the Week last year. There he is, 24. Brown. His sister, Olivia, is a regular on the hit series on NBC, Miami Vice. It was interesting that last week he put the Vice on Miami. He had 2 interceptions and 10 tackles to earn that honor.
Hasn't quite been able to slow down Theismann and these Redskins today, though, Dick.
Second down and a short 5. Misdirection, and Rodgers hit at the 20, spinning away for 3 extra yards. Ray Childress, the #1 pick of the Oilers, All-American at Texas A&M, number 79, on the tackle. Rams and Philadelphia. Eagles score on another field goal in the second quarter to cut the Ram lead to 4.
Big John Riggins back on the field. And Rodgers coming out. They put the heavyweights in there on this short yardage situation. Now you see the 3 tight ends in there. This is a normal situation for 3 tight ends. We're used to seeing them in this kind of play.
Along with Otis Wansley, 39 in front of Riggins. I don't know. That was a good defensive charge by the Oilers, one of their best of this half. Avon Riley and Rod Cush, number 37, coming up from the secondary.
They're going to measure it. Talking to Jerry Glanville about his defense, one of his big concerns, those 2 outside linebackers, Lyles and Meade, are not very big. Hugh Campbell said the same thing. He said, we've got a lot of speed, but we don't match up very well against that big, strong offensive line.
They're going to measure, but apparently Joe Gibbs feels they did not make it because he's already sent his field goal unit onto the field, and he's right by almost a yard. So Mosley and the kicking team on with a 13-0 lead. That field goal, if successful, gives them the 2-touchdown plus advantage. It'll be either 34 or 35 yards for Mosley, who did not attempt one on Monday night at Dallas, but he was a solid 24 for 31 last year. Mosley, I don't know if he still wears 6 pairs of socks on that right foot, but it's always been a padded weapon for him.
He is the last of a dying breed, the last of the straight-up kickers. All the rest kick with the side of the foot. He still punches with a toe.
And he is accurate from 34. 8 minutes, 32 seconds left in the half. The Redskins have scored on all 3 possessions. Jeff Hayes to kick it off for Washington. The Redskins lead 16-0. It'll be Tasker coming up at the 10. Steve Tasker, the rookie from Northwestern, into the clear again. Only Hayes to beat. And Hayes knocks him out of bounds at the 39-yard line. That's almost an exact return of the first one. He got it at the 10, took it to the 39-yard line the last time. Tasker, a good return effort.
Special teams coach Wayne Sevier is going to be up nights watching these returns. Ordinarily, these Redskins have excellent special teams. Tasker again starting to the right, but watch the cut right here back to the left side. Good blocking up front by the wedge, and then it's all speed. Jeff Hayes, safety man. He kicked it off, and then he becomes a safety. Did a good job of stopping that play.
They mark it at the 40, Washington territory. Moon fumbles, picks it up, and gains 5. That's about the best run of the afternoon.
I was going to say the same thing, Dick, and that's unfair. Warren Moon, we talk about quarterback mobility. Moon is an excellent runner. In fact, in the preseason, averaged 7.2 yards per carry.
And that was a concern of the Redskin defense, Moon's mobility, the fact that he can scramble and on a broken pattern perhaps buy some time. And Dave Butts walking slowly off the field. But no, he's back into the, yep, he's holding that left knee.
He's on the sideline, and reaching down at that left leg, and of course the way he's playing, the way he's been dominating, that's not good news for the Skins.
Fake to Rozier. Moon. What a throw, complete to the 20-yard line to Tim Smith. How did he get that ball threaded through all those Redskins?
I think that is about as tough a throw for a right-handed quarterback as there is. Running to his left and having to throw against the strength of his body. Watch the rollout here, the sprint out. Moon has not been getting time in the pocket. He comes out, but watch this. Look at the strength of his arm, and right on target to Tim Smith.
Boy, that is a superb effort. He's stepping out of bounds, throws the ball back against his body. A perfect strike to Smith, and a first down at the 20. Fumbles again. And Rozier pounces on it to save the Oilers at the 24. That's 2 snaps out of 3 that Moon has not been able to handle cleanly.
Got to wonder if maybe Moon is not trying to get out of there a little too quick. Now, he has had some thumb problems. He took a fracture in his thumb on August 31st against the Cowboys. Told me in the locker room before the game that the thumb is not bothering him. The pain is gone. But well, there's some pain looking at the 5 opponents that they've got to face. They beat Miami, but look at the rest of those troops. Whoa.
Go to Pittsburgh next week. Dallas, Denver. Going long. Wolfuk had a step on Curtis Jordan, but the pass too long. And a flag is down. Back where you would suspect holding against Houston.
Dave Butts back into the game, and very quickly someone on the right side of that Houston line appeared to be hanging on for dear life.
13-0, 16-0 here, Redskins. They've scored on 2 touchdowns. 17-yard pass Theismann to Muhammad. A 31-yard run by George Rogers. 34-yard field goal Mosley.
Holding, number 62, offense. Penalty accepted. Repeat, second down.
So it'll be second and long. We'll run down all the scores, early games in the NFL for you in the next play or two. In case you're just joining us here in Washington on a beautiful afternoon.
Schumacher, who is blocking on Dave Butts and having giant troubles getting the call on the holding penalty there.
Moriarty and Wolfuk behind Moon. Incomplete to Jamie Williams. And Moon is down as Darrell Grant and Dave Butts were in on top of the Oiler quarterback again. Boy, they're just not able to stop Dave Butts in this first half. He's having things his own way. He is dominating.
Well, even on that last play, when he was not in there to make the stop, he came through, blew open, and actually forced Moon to stay on that side. Moon couldn't go anywhere because of Butts' positioning on it.
Battle in the National League East. The Mets lead the Expos 4-0. 3rd and a mile. Moriarty trying to buy some yardage so that the Oilers can at least get in field goal range, and man, Curtis Jordan push him out of bounds at around the 28. So in comes the place kicker Tony Zendejas from Nevada Reno, from the United States Football League. The Redskins had him during the summer. Well chronicled in these parts that many felt that they wanted him to win the job, but he couldn't. And Mosley retained. They traded him to Houston, and last week he was 2 for 2 against Miami, including a 46-yarder. This one would be 44.
There's the crowd trying to intimidate Zendejas.
Tasker is the holder. It is good. Didn't look as if he hit it cleanly, but he drove it through, and with 5 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the first half, Houston is on the board.
Excellent job by the kicker.
I can tell when the weather is really football weather like today, because you're next door and I can hear you getting pumped up in the morning.
That's me doing those morning jumping jacks and exercises. What a beautiful day. This is the first real football day we've had this fall, and I'll tell you, it gets in your blood, the colors, the excitement. They're tailgating out in the parking lot. I'm ready. I'm ready.
And so are the Oilers and Redskins on this kickoff. Johnson with a 16-3 Redskin lead. Boy, the punter can also hammer that kickoff. Jenkins returns to the 22. Ken Jenkins, a 23-yard return. Let's go to Bob Costas in NFL 85.
Dick, after a penalty-filled first quarter, the New York Jets got it going, and Freeman McNeil takes it in from 6 yards out early in the second quarter at the Meadowlands, and the Jets now lead Buffalo 7-3. Let's go back to Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen at RFK.
Where the Redskins have been dominant 16-3. Riggins and Rogers, interestingly, have shared duties at running back, each with 59 yards. And it's Rogers in there now. Theismann to Art Monk. Just did get knocked out of bounds by Steve Brown.
Interesting to examine how much differently this day is going for Joe Theismann. Last week, 5 interceptions, the most he's ever thrown in a game. And he made some comments after the game that were interesting to me, Dick. He said, you know, we've been working to get ready for this opening game for 5 weeks. Maybe they worked a little too hard. Maybe they were just a little too tight, a little too ready.
And they blame the communication, lack of communication between Theismann and a fairly new set of receivers in the Dallas debacle. Rogers just a couple to the 29, where it'll be third down and a long 3. Ray Childress, bottom of the pile for Houston.
Well, when you get beaten as badly as Washington did last week, there's enough blame for everybody. You can point all the fingers you want, but obviously the preparations this week and what they have done to get ready for this game have certainly changed the way the early texture of the game is going anyway.
Well, from the 3 tight end to the 3 wide receiver, Monk, Muhammad, and Gary Clark are all in, along with Keith Griffin. Good protection. And now it breaks down as Jesse Baker from the backside. Baker, the veteran from Jacksonville State of Alabama, making the tackle, the first sack for the Oilers. And suddenly Houston, they got the good kickoff return, and that resulted in a field goal. And although the Oiler offense has not been able to move the football, now the defense steadying, and they forced the first punt by Jeff Hayes. 42.6 average last week in Dallas. At the other end is Willie Drury, or is that Drew Hill? Willie Drury for the Oilers at the 34. End over end and short. Drury at the 43, 50. And he ducks into the Washington 47-yard line. So Houston once again begins in good field position. Only a 36-yard punt, 9-yard return. Other scores: Bears leading in the second quarter, 7-0 over the Patriots. At St. Louis, 7-all in the second. Cincinnati and the Cardinals. Detroit, boy, a big roar from the crowd when they posted that on the scoreboard here at RFK. Lions 10, Cowboys nothing in the second. 7-3, the Jets ahead of Buffalo. You heard Bob just give you the results of that. Freeman McNeil with a touchdown. Rams outscoring Philadelphia 10-6 in the first half. Miami with a 6-0 lead against the Colts in the second quarter. Those are the other early games. Boone to Rozier, and he's dropped for a loss at midfield. Rich Malott and Neil Olkowitz, the 2 linebackers for Washington. Boy, they have really closed down Houston's running game.
They have shut the door. It made it impossible. Rozier last week running effectively, and the Wolfhook, who had a beautiful game last week against the Dolphins, has just not been on track here today.
Indianapolis just scoring to take the lead at Miami 7-6. They must be a little edgy down there in the Orange Bowl after Miami lost to Houston last week. Big favorites today. Moon, a quick hitter to Tim Smith to the 45. That'll bring up third down and 8. Curtis Jordan, the hit for Washington.
Richie Bone, assistant head coach on defense, talking about Moon. I'm sure he would give him that pass all afternoon. In that situation, you need far more than the 4 yards he picked up. It'll be third and about 8 yards to go. There's Richie Pettibone,
former teammate.
He was a defensive back. Now, he doesn't quite look like a defensive back these days, but a good one.
Moon to Wolford. It appeared that Butch had a pretty good shot at catching that one, even though it was a little behind him, but could not come up with it. And guess who was right on top of Warren Moon again? Number 65, Dave Butts. The Oilers called him Kondo in watching the films.
Number 65, Dave Butts, is just going to power through from the inside. Look at him, just running over people. Schumacher trying to get a hold of him. Romano trying to help. Moriarty trying to help. And Butts buries Moon.
Well, you might as well put a blue uniform on him. He's been in the backfield as much as the Oiler runners. Johnson to kick again. Well, he has a strong leg. And that one kicks, is it? No, into the end zone. Just missed that corner.
His nickname is Thunderfoot. He's had thunder in that foot today.
Impressive. He didn't really hit that one cleanly, and it still just jumped off his foot. Indeed, thunder. 45-yard punt, 20 yards taken away, 25 net as the Redskins will start from the 20. Don't forget, next Saturday, the baseball game of the week. The Yankees will be at Baltimore and Montreal at St. Louis as, of course, the pennant race is boiling down to the final 2.5 weeks. Next Saturday, 1 o'clock Eastern time, our baseball game of the week on NBC. Moon saying we got to find a way to wrap a rope around the ankles of Butts and keep him off my lap.
Well, and that was Schumacher. I think Schumacher apologizing to his quarterback for not being able to hold Butts out of there.
Theismann on a roll. Ball up in the air and incomplete, as hitting him from the blind side was Johnny Meads from Nicholls State, the linebacker. And Meads, one of the many lightning quick backers for the Oilers. He runs a 40 and 4.58, and he got in on the blind side, and Theismann lucky to come out in one piece.
Meads really coming quickly, and that ball is an interception ball. Ordinarily, you get one that hangs up there. The defenders usually have a better shot at that ball than anyone else. Very often that would be intercepted. They were lucky because that one floated down out of bounds.
2nd and 10 for Washington, and Keith Griffin is in the backfield. Younger brother of Archie and Ray Griffin from that talented Griffin clan. He darts out for 5 to the 25, and with that hurdle almost shot himself into the secondary. Richard Byrd, 71, with the tackle.
These Redskins are so tough offensively because they can throw such interesting combinations of people. We've seen 3 tight ends in the game. We've seen 3 wide receivers in the game. Griffin goes in there, looks different than the power backs.
Stay tuned for NFL 85, and one of the comments certainly that they'll be talking about, the Bengals have just gone ahead of the Cardinals 14-7. Kenny Anderson to the #1 draft pick Eddie Brown, 44 yards for the Bengals score. Here it's 16-3 Washington, and a 3rd down and 5 for the Redskins at their 25 with just under 2 minutes left in the half. Griffin. He's got the first down and more to the 36-yard line. Jeff Donaldson finally secured him after a 12-yard carry.
That's got to be a frightening sight as you watch the tackle and guard from the right side of your picture pulling to lead that play along with the near side guard. Look at the size of those people. Jacoby is about 310 pounds coming out in front, pulling all the way from that off tackle position.
Theismann trying to get more, and he goes to Griffin with a flag down. It'd be a short yardage at best, about 3 yards for the Skins. Now let's check the call. Yvonne Riley made the play defensively for Houston. Motion against the Skins. Really rebuilt this defense, gone from last year. Greg Bingham, Robert Brazil, Ted Thompson linebackers, defensive linemen Jerome Foster, Willie Tullis, and Carter Hartwig defensive backs.
The last time these two teams got together, Dick, back in 1979, there are no starters left at all from the Houston Oilers team that played here in 1979.
And only 3 of the 45 actually got in that game.
Only 3 of the 45. Schumacher being one of those. I guess maybe he just as soon not be here today if the truth were known.
I'm not sure anyone wants to replace him either.
Well, I don't want to go down there. I'll tell you that. I don't have Butts hitting me either.
After the penalty, 1st and 15. Calvin Muhammad, first down at the 49. 17 yards, Theismann to Muhammad, and they're going to hurry up. Now a time is called. The Redskins will stop the clock with 1 minute, 6 seconds left in the half.
At the top of your screen, watch him working against the zone defense. Going to come down inside, find the open area right there. Here he is right now, coming across the middle, drifts into the 50 against the zone. This Houston Oilers team running a lot of man for man. They got caught in the zone there. Mohammed able to find the open turf, and Theismann did a good job of getting him the ball.
Mohammed has a touchdown catch earlier. 17 yards. That one good for 17 more. 1 minute, 6 seconds left in the first half. 16-3, the Redskins lead. Fumble. And what an alert play by the Redskins for a moment, but I think Houston might have come up with it after all. It's between 56 Abraham and 73 Mark May, and Abraham won the tussle. So the Oilers get their first turnover of this half, and with 57 seconds left, have a chance.
A blindside hit on the quarterback. 37. That's Rod Cush blitzing from that blind side. You see the scramble for the football. Several people had a chance at it, but the Oilers come up with it in great field position. They need to get some points on the board. They got to get something going offensively, Dick.
57 seconds left in the half. You'll recall Monday night, it was that touchdown in the final seconds by Dallas that really turned the game around for the Cowboys. Moon to Jamie Williams, his tight end, down at the 22. Vernon Dean with a tackle, and time called by Houston. They still have 2 remaining. 45 seconds left for Warren Moon and the Oilers. The rushing statistics tell the story of the first half to this point. 151 yards more by the Redskins. They said they wanted to run, and the second point made by Joe Gibbs stopped the run. Well, the statistics bear out the fact this team has performed well, and yet, Hugh Campbell's club could get a quick score here and go into the locker room down only 16-10.
Sometimes one play can turn a game around, and the Redskins can look back to last week's game against Dallas, a rookie mistake by young Barry Wilburn, one of their defensive backs, just before the half. I think 6 seconds left to go in the half when that touchdown was scored, and it turned that game around, turned the emotion around. Right now, Hugh Campbell is talking to Warren Moon about a big play. Hopefully they could turn this game around.
This is an opportunity that might well spell the entire feeling for that second half. If the Oilers cannot capitalize and go in 16-3, has to be a downer. The Bears have added 3 more points. On the other hand, to get the fumble where the Redskins look like they might add to the 16-3 lead, come back and get a touchdown, would really bring this young Oiler team a tremendous emotional lift. We talked about emotions prior to the start of that second half.
Very important series right here. Just seconds to go in the half.
Moon into the end zone. Oh, into a crowd. 4 Redskins and 2 blue jerseyed Oilers. Smith was one of them. Vernon Dean was closest in the coverage. Drew Hill was also in the end zone for Houston.
When you can keep pressure on a quarterback all day, he just simply cannot devote as much of his attention to those receivers downfield. He's got to be constantly trying to feel that rush. It looked like Moon was a little nervous in that pocket, and you can't blame him. He's taken a beating here in this first half.
39 seconds left in the half. Good protection this time. The 10, and Moon to the 6, and a flag goes down, and time called by the Oilers with 29 seconds left. 16 yards if it counts.
We've got a penalty for an illegal block against the Oilers, and that's going to move it back. It still will be good yardage for Moon, but it's going to take most of that gain away from him.
See Monty Coleman indicating that it is a block in the back against Houston.
But what a great play by Warren Moon. We talked about his mobility earlier. Now watch him here. He feels the pressure coming in. He knows the room is up front, just sidesteps and uses that good speed to get away from Mel Kaufman, 55. Now you notice he didn't slide. He's going for the yardage.
Ball is brought back on the 10-yard penalty to the 17 from the 7, the spot of the foul. It'll be 2nd down and 5. You see Miami now has regained the lead before the half down at the Orange Bowl against the Colts. 29 seconds left. The Oilers have 2 timeouts remaining. And 2nd and 5 from the Washington 17-yard line. Hill and Smith both to the left. Moriarty and Wolfhook, and that's Wolfhook in motion. Redskins were offside where they drawn off. Dexter Manley, was he reacting?
Eric Moran, number 76, jumping back, tremendously concerned.
Ball start, left tackle offense.
Yeah, 76. His problem is that he is a very strong offensive lineman, but he is not as quick as Dexter Manley. And he's so concerned about protecting that quarterback that he's trying to jump that count, and it was costly there.
It's been a series of little mistakes for the Oilers in this first half. St. Louis has rallied to tie the Bengals 14-all late in the second quarter.
It's got to be frustrating for that man, Hugh Campbell. He is a most interesting coach, very patient. In fact, both of these coaches, both Campbell and Gibbs, on the exterior do not have that football coach look to them. In fact, I think if you gave people a look at them in another setting and said, now mark this list of possible employment responsibilities, football coach is not one of the first ones that you would mark. In fact, I think one of the last.
Now they'd win on What's My Line. Joe Gibbs, Hugh Campbell. A critical last half minute of this first half.
I am picking up my flag. The false start on the left tackle occurred when he was in a 2-point stance. He did not draw a defensive charge, therefore he did nothing wrong. It will be the same down in yardage.
Gordon McCarter with a full explanation. Remains 2nd down and 5 at the Redskins 17-yard line.
And Hugh Campbell is out on the field. I think he's questioning the time on the clock now.
There should be 2 seconds added, and there will be. That's what Mr. McCarter is now announcing. It had gone from 29 to 27 seconds, and now they've added the 2 seconds.
And the rule, very simply, if you're in a 3-point stance, you cannot move. If you're in a 2-point stance and you move but do not draw the defensive man offside, then it's not a penalty.
Moran aligns himself against Manley again. Crowd trying to help the Washington defense. Moon underneath to Wolfhook. Malott made the tackle at the 11. That will be, I believe, a first down. And Houston calls time with 20 seconds left in the half.
Joe Ferrangeli, you see him right there, the new offensive coordinator. They brought him down from Canada to work with Warren Moon and Hugh Campbell. The 3 of them, actually, Moon, Campbell, and Ferrangeli, put the offensive plan together. They do a good job of it. McCloskey, an extra tight end. You're looking there whether they're going to go to short yardage if they need to, but obviously 1st and goal, 1st and 10. They can get a first down without getting into the end zone.
Ball is at the 11-yard line. Baseball score in the second inning. The Mets leading Montreal 4-0. Detroit 13, Dallas nothing in the second quarter. A field goal by Eddie Murray of 46 yards. So the Lions, who won their opener, trying to spoil Dallas's fun after the Cowboys really thrashed these Redskins 44-14 on Monday night. Campbell, boyish-looking 44-year-old former Washington State wide receiver and a star in the Canadian Football League, and a brilliant coach. Great success with the Eskimos of Edmonton. And he said that on Thursday night he got not your ordinary phone call of congratulations on the upset of Miami. He said Wayne Gretzky, the super hockey star with the Oilers, called him to say, boy, way to go, coach. Gretzky has followed the successes of Campbell and Moon, who have migrated down to Houston. First down at the 11. 20 seconds left in the half. The throw is to Drew Hill, and Hill is down at the 2-yard line. Boy, he was bouncing around like a pinball, but couldn't get in the end zone, as the Redskins did a great job of holding him out. They used their final timeout. 13 seconds left in the half.
What a great job by Warren Moon of picking up that blitz. saw Curtis Jordan, 22. You see him right there coming up inside, read the blitz, threw the quick slant. Great adjustment by Hill. And that's something that the Rams, I don't believe the Rams really got that kind of performance out of Drew Hill. They got him here in Houston as a deep receiver, but boy, he caught it inside.
And number 32, Vernon Dean, he actually hit Drew Hill twice to keep him out of the end zone. There he breaks, he hits him there. Hill gets away, but watch Hill. Dean, he keeps tracking him, and he stops him at the 2-yard line. NFL 85 halftime will be with us right at the gun. 13 seconds left. It'll be second down and a yard from the 2. What do you think here? You got to pass the ball. He's got 3 downs to go in only 13 seconds.
Ideally, you get down there with a little more time and you have the options. But maybe what you do is roll it out. I think the toughest play in football in short yardage is the quarterback roll by a quarterback with speed, because that puts one more blocker or one more receiver into the pattern.
Big opportunity here in the final seconds of the first half for the Oilers to get back in the game. Moriarty cannot hang on. Mel Kaufman was there for Washington.
They're trying to isolate the power back, Moriarty. They're trying to isolate him one-on-one on the linebacker. Had he caught that football, it would have been a physical battle between Moriarty and Kaufman. You see, Vigali is very upset on his sideline. He's saying, hey, that's exactly what we wanted. We got it, and we didn't get the catch.
Third and a long one at the 2. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Drew Hill. So the Oilers get the fumble recovery, and with 5 seconds left in the first half, Houston, totally outplayed for most of this half, is right back in the game.
Well, Dick Enberg, we talked about emotion, and we talked about the importance of one play. Right there, an incredibly fine play. Great body control, good hands and concentration, and getting those feet down inside that goal line. Tremendous play by the Oilers to get that 6 points.
Lee Johnson's Zendejas to try the point after, and he drives it through, and of course that blocked extra point, the Oilers early in the game, could be very crucial now, as after the fumble recovery, the Oilers battle into the end zone, 32 yards in 7 plays, and the complexion of this game has suddenly turned Oiler blue. Drew Hill, his first touchdown in Houston. What a throw and catch. It took almost the perfect combination.
You sense the quieting of this crowd too, Dick, and that's something that ideally, if you could have played the script for the Oilers, really it's been a Washington script right up until the end of the half. But the Oilers script would have been to have some touchdowns early to quiet down this crowd. They've been able to do that with a nice play right here at the end of the half, and now the Redskins are going to have to change their thinking a little bit for the second half.
Well, leading 16-0, it was the 50-yard kickoff return by Tasker that set up the 44-yard Zendejas field goal. And then with Theismann trying to drive Washington to add to their 16-3 advantage, he was hit, fumbled, recovered by the Oilers, and they get the touchdown, 2 yards moon to Drew Hill to make it 16-10. Look at the Jets suddenly scoring 3 touchdowns in the second quarter themselves against the Bills. Johnson's kick down to Jenkins. 20, 30, and as the first half comes to an end, Jenkins down at the 37-yard line, and that is the end of the first half. The Redskins leave the field with a 16-10 lead over Houston.
Washington Redskins came out early and used their power, Dick. They just went to the body punching game, used their power, but it was finesse really to get them that first touchdown, wasn't it?
Well, Rogers here, he just wouldn't give up on this run of 31 yards. They thought they had him down in the pile, his knees driving. Boom, actually that defender actually knocked him free from the grasp of 2 other Oilers, and Rogers' first score as a Redskin. That made it 13-0, and after Mosley had kicked a field goal and Zendejas won for Houston, This throw, boy, talk about a perfect strike. A rainbow and the golden catch by Drew Hill. And so at the intermission here at RFK, it is 16-10 Washington. Back after these messages, your local station. For the second half at RFK Stadium, 16-10. The Redskins lead the Oilers. NFL 85 halftime activities will continue in a moment. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Welcome back to RFK Stadium. It is a special day for my partner, Merlin Olsen. He's celebrating his birthday. Can we say how old you are?
I don't mind. I'm 45.
45 years old. Happy birthday. We had a wonderful surprise. In fact, 2 surprises for you. And the surprise is that none of the surprises showed up. But we have arranged for you a fun-filled weekend in Dallas. You're going to do the Cleveland-Dallas game. I'll see you there next
That's
Sunday.
Wonderful. You know, I was talking to Joe Theismann yesterday, and his birthday was last week, the day of that awful game against the Dallas Cowboys. And I said, Joe, you know, it's my birthday tomorrow. He said, I sure hope you have a lot happier birthday than I did. So,
well, actually, it did.
Oh,
it did.
my.
Look at it now. That's made it myself this morning. We thought, well, you have to give you a cake. And in the true spirit of your other interests in light flowers, and we all said we couldn't decide which was which, so you're gonna get both.
Well, listen, I'm glad there's a lot of seriousness going on down in the locker room. Enough of that. So.
All right, what do you think about the second half? Do you think anyone will change major plans going into the second half?
I think both teams are going to come out and try to do, in the case of Houston, what they wanted to do in the first half. They're going to still try and run the football. They've got to get themselves a running game going if they're going to be successful offensively in this second half. I think for the Redskins, we're going to see more of the same. Basically, they were able to control the line of scrimmage with their running game and their defense, and they're going to try and do the same thing here in this second half.
Well, I can recall when you were a Ram, a lot of coaches would say, we got to put somebody out there or 2 people out there to stop Merlin Olsen. How do you stop Dave Butts? What do you think is going to happen there?
Well, I think one thing that they have had to have considered and obviously put aside is the idea of putting Steinkuhler back in the game. Steinkuhler getting over a knee injury. He's been held out because they don't want to lose him. He's more important in the long run, and I think this is a real test of a coach. Hugh Campbell knows that Steinkuhler has a better chance if they don't rush him back into the lineup. I think for an inexperienced coach, the choice would be easy. You put the guy in. You say, Steinkuhler, you're bigger and stronger than Schumacher. You go in there and stop Dave Butts. But if you get him hurt in the process, then you've lost the battle. Dave Butts, on the other hand, having a great game and possibly can continue to dominate, although having held out, he's not quite in the shape that he would be if he'd been in training camp, and conditioning could be a little bit of a problem. We'll keep an eye on him. It doesn't appear that he was slowing down, believe me, as he was blowing over the top of people all through that first half.
Really 45, huh?
Don't you like that? A little silver in the beard?
Yeah,
why not?
Happy birthday from all of us.
Thank you, Dick.
Let's go to the second half. The Redskins and the Oilers, the score 16-10, and that does not reflect the statistics of the first half because Hugh Campbell's Oilers did very little to move the ball, but they had 2 excellent kickoff returns, one of them of 50 yards to set up a field goal, and then a key play made when Rod Cush came in on a safety blitz and nailed Theismann. His fumble recovered by Abraham, and the Oilers just before the half got the touchdown on Moon's 2-yard throw to Drew Hill. No question about the athletic prowess of that man, Warren Moon.
Certainly has brought that stamp to this Oiler team and is getting better all the time. Washington Redskins huddling around Wayne Sevier, the special teams coach. Oh, Riggo, the Diesel, getting ready on the sideline. I've got to believe that having someone to alternate with is going to make his year a lot nicer. Let's look at those statistics. The total yardage, and most of that for the Redskins rushing yardage, 162 yards rushing in that first half, and that's an area where the Oilers have been weak over the last few years. They did hold Miami under 70 yards last week, and they felt they were improving, but not so in the first half. Passing, 7 for 13 for the Oilers, 9 for 11. Theismann hot in the first half. They'd like him to continue that hot hand. Believe me, they're going to give him chances to do the same thing that he did in the first half if possible.
Lee Johnson will kick off for the Houston Oilers with Ken Jenkins, third-year man from Bucknell, just signed this week by Washington at the other end. At the 5. At the 20. And Jenkins is out across the 30 to the 31-yard line. Good return. And here comes Theismann and the Redskin offense. And we'll see whether or not, indeed, Washington will stay with that ground game that devoured big chunks of yardage throughout the first half.
And obviously, when they go to the running game, they can control the clock. Now, they're still leading in this game, but that's not a comfortable lead. They know that that's one play away from trailing in this game, and certainly when you're playing against an explosive quarterback, that's got to make you nervous if you're Joe Gibbs.
Look at this lineup. 3 tight ends all on the right side for Washington. All 3, Didier and Warren and Jones. And then they throw the other way to Art Monk, 35, and he straightened and hit down hard on the far side at the 37-yard line. Jesse Baker made the play.
And that's an excellent play. That shows you the hustle of this Houston defense. Now they're all over the field. Jesse Baker, big defensive lineman, hustling all the way out from the inside. Go back and look at the start of that play. Inside, that's Shea, but there's Jesse Baker. Now watch him. He's getting a good block right there. Is that Grimm? No, that's R.C. Thielemann, who's in for Grimm, who's got a back problem. But he just blew to the outside, used his speed to make the play.
2nd and 3, Riggins to the 39, and that's all. Right into the teeth of that Oiler defense, and there was 79 Ray Childress, a 6'6", 267-pound rookie from Texas A&M.
They're very excited about the performance of Ray Childress. Drafted him number 1. He's not as far along because of a holdout as he should be, but he has fit right into that lineup. Didn't take him long to get in there and start to make his presence felt. He's a very physical talent. The Oilers have needed that kind of dominant defensive lineman. They haven't had that for a number of years.
25 sacks the last 2 years with the Aggies. 3rd and 2. Oh! Theismann down, but back up again and down again as Donaldson and Meads, Donaldson from the secondary and Meads the linebacker, record the sack as Theismann tripping as he pulled back from center, and it cost the Redskins 7 yards and a chance for a first down.
Hard to see what happened as Joe just spun away on that short yardage play. Perhaps you can see, looking in, looks like he may have hooked the foot of his offensive guard, R.C. Thielemann, coming over from the other side, but then again maybe just hung up in the turf.
Jeff Hayes to punt. Willie Drury back for Houston. Another short kick. Drury racing up to take it on the fly and is downed immediately at the 39-yard line. Now the Oilers have the football for the first time in the second half, and they trail just 16-10. Just a 29-yard punt by Jeff Hayes.
The first series right after the half, extremely important for both teams. They want to set the tempo. They want to get it established right here. You saw Don Bro coming over to talk to Theismann. Theismann's first series, nothing. Let's see what Warren Moon can do with his first opportunity.
Former Notre Dame star gets a couple, maybe 3. Butts and Grant in the middle of the Redskin defense to make the stop. With Moriarty in the backfield is Mike Rozier from Nebraska, the Heisman winner. He's had a full year of football after playing a full schedule in the United States Football League, and now with the Oilers. Last week he scored 2 touchdowns, including the winner in the final minute against Miami. But it's Moriarty, the solo back behind Moon, 2nd and 7. Quickie to Jamie Williams, the tight end. Good move. Williams still on his feet to the 44 of Washington. 14 yards, and it was mostly on the running talent of Williams, another former Cornhusker.
Tony Peters, number 23, up from his safety position, and Jamie Williams just uses a straight arm. Watch the play by Williams, 87. Here comes Peters, just brushes him aside, and then gets upfield, almost gets out of another tackle right there. Curtis Jordan, 22, finally pulling him down. Big play. Good start for the Oilers here.
First down in Redskin territory at the 44-yard line. Rozier, just a couple. Wore number 30 in high school and at Nebraska and in the USFL, but a bigger man has that one for the Oilers, Larry Moriarty, so he's carrying 33.
Now Kaufman coming off the field. Looks like he may have pinched a nerve. Left arm kind of dangling there as he comes off. A lot of times, if you've taken a shot on the head, it'll pinch a nerve in the neck, and you'll feel it as that hand will go numb. That's a nasty feeling.
That's Rozier in motion. Moon finds the man open, Tim Smith. He beats the rookie Cherry, the 5th defensive back, and it's 17 more yards for the Oilers and a first down.
It was Dave Butts again getting penetration on Moon, but Moon saw that Butts could not have his balance, was losing his balance, skirted to the outside, able to find Tim Smith and get it off. Here's a chance for you to see that. Number 65, Butts coming in, gets around Schumacher, but watch him right here. He loses his footing, gives Moon a chance to roll to the outside and complete the pass.
It was Darrell Green beaten on the coverage. This is Moriarty, the big fullback, inside the 20, down to the 18-yard line. It's interesting that Houston has 7 first downs in the entire game, all 7 by way of Warren Moon passes.
And yet, if you've watched what they've done here in this drive, they're alternating very well between run and pass, because they know they have got to establish a ground game. They've got to keep trying to get that ground game going if they're going to be able to dominate with offense.
2nd and 4. And the Redskins had almost a 10-man line, and Moriarty is dropped for a loss. Rich Malott from Penn State knifing through from his outside backer spot, and Curtis Jordan, 22 there as well.
And when I said dominate with offense and running game, when you can't move people off the line any better than that, you're being dominated, not dominating. But they are trying to establish that running game. Got to go to the air here, I think. Rozier in the slot on this one, Dick.
Moon over the middle to Smith, but Smith's route was forced offline. He had to adjust, and that ruined the timing on the pass.
Well, I think the blitz ruined the timing as well. Monty Coleman coming from the outside very quickly. Moon had to throw the ball before he wanted to throw it. That ball going incomplete.
Tony Zendejas, part of the Zendejas kicking family. He has 3 cousins, all of whom have played college or pro ball, and his younger brother Marty is a sophomore at Nevada Reno, where Tony attended. This will be a 36-yard attempt. And he's got it. He's 4 for 4 as an Oiler. And the Houston Oilers have pulled within 3. 9:45 remaining, 3rd quarter. RFK Stadium, you see Ken Jenkins deployed deep, and the kickoff by Lee Johnson. Jenkins at the 3. Flag down. Jenkins all the way to the 35. A good return. Bo Eason, 21, made the tackle. Now check the penalty.
Stuart Anderson, number 58, came down with an illegal block. Knocked one of the Oilers from behind, and it's going to nullify that great return.
And it's going to pin Joe Theismann and the Redskins deep in their own end, I believe, inside the 10-yard line after the penalty is marked.
And so often, the mistakes are made by the young team. That's a mistake by the veteran team, by the Redskins. It really puts them in the hole here.
Illegal block above the waist from behind, number 58 on the receiving team.
Right on target, Merlin. Inside the 8-yard line, the ball is marked. And the Redskins will use 3 tight ends, Warren, Jones, and Didier, with George Rogers, the running back. They had a 90-yard drive for a touchdown in the first quarter. It took them only 8 plays when Rogers finally scored from 31. Rogers, a little misdirection. He's across the 10 and to the 11 for a gain of 4. Robert Lyles, linebacker, TCU, made the tackle. Johnny Meads, the other outside backer, also in on the play. 2nd down and 6, Washington. The way the plays are called by the 2 coaches, Gibbs and Campbell, are interesting. They have different philosophies. In fact, Gibbs yesterday telling us that he feels he's almost juxtaposed to Bill Walsh of the 49ers. Rogers struggling to get to the 15-yard line, where he'll be a couple yards shy of a first down, make it 3rd down and 3. There's a lot of publicity accompanying Bill Walsh's success, Merlin, in scripting 20, 15, 20 plays off the start of the game, and Gibbs doesn't do it that way.
Joe Gibbs says that he would rather package his plays according to down and distance. Like he'll have a package for 3rd and short. He'll have plays for 1st and 10, plays for short yardage, plays for long yardage. He puts those in, not necessarily by preference, but those he feels that are best against the defense.
Always wanting to spread the field, he told us yesterday. Always looking for a big play. Over the middle, and a good catch by Keith Griffin, and a first down at the 24-yard line.
A good example right there of spreading the field. 3 wide receivers deep. And then he swings Griffin right in underneath to take advantage of the room that they have created. Theismann looking now to get the signal from the sideline, and Gibbs wants to call those plays. He said, you know, if I let the quarterback call the plays, I feel like a spectator in the game.
The other close communication, and not only Coach Gibbs with Theismann, the quarterback, but with Jerry Rome, who's high in the press box, who calls down his offensive thoughts and plans. Tight end reverse, Rick Walker. Flag down as Walker is hit. Dropped at the 34-yard line, and the man who hit him isn't getting up, Bo Eason. Oh, that was a wicked collision.
Eason, very important member of that secondary, calls the defensive signals and adjustments. He just got himself a whole wall full of Redskin. There was a flag on the play, and there is a Redskin down back toward the line of scrimmage. It looks like it might be Jacoby.
Eason, the younger brother of the New England quarterback, and he's a little wobbly. Joe Jacoby, the all-pro left tackle of the Redskins, being attended to back at the 23-yard line. Meanwhile, the penalty.
Holding, number 81, offense, 10-yard penalty for spot of foul, repeat first down.
Art Monk.
Yeah, Art trying to do a job. He becomes a blocker now. Here comes Walker to the outside. Monk trying to work right there on Steve Brown, 24. Obviously got himself a handful of jersey.
And a timeout, exactly the midpoint of the 3rd quarter. Replace the injured Joe Jacoby, and Theismann going long. And a flag down, interference against Patrick Allen of Houston. Calvin Muhammad streaking down the sidelines, and Allen guilty of interference.
You see Allen right here, and there's no question, before that ball arrived, he knew he was beaten. He chose to go after the receiver, and he'll pay the penalty.
35-yard penalty to the Houston 41-yard line. That really gets Theismann out of the hole.
Houston Oilers trying to bump and run. They're trying to copy some of the aggressive technique used so effectively by the Raiders. Don't yet have the expertise, so they're going to get hurt a few times.
George Rogers. He's inside the 35. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WRC-TV, Channel 4, Washington, D.C.
6 minutes, 50 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Washington led early, 16-0. Houston has rallied within 3, and now the Redskins, benefiting from a 35-yard penalty, are at the 34. And good news for Washington, Joe Jacoby, number 66, is back in at left tackle. Rogers, a couple of yards to the 33, maybe only one, will be short of a first down by 2. Baseball today. Let's check the key games. The Mets are leading Montreal 5-1, while St. Louis no score against the Cubs. Dodgers all but in. They're talking magic number in L.A. 3-0 against Cincinnati. Toronto, New York, no score in the 2nd. Kansas City at Oakland, Texas, California later this afternoon on the West Coast. Big play, 3rd and about 1.5 yards. Rogers, he didn't get it. Coming up to make the defensive play was Robert Lyles, number 93. He put his 223 pounds right into Rogers and stopped him cold.
For the 2nd time today on a critical short yardage situation, it's been a triumph of quickness over bulk and strength. Lyles doing a good job there. The crowd here reacting as apparently the decision is going to be to go for the first down on 4th and about 1.5 yards. Interesting choice, although they may feel that this is out of Mosley's comfortable range.
3 wide receivers, Monk and Muhammad to the left. Actually, 2 tight ends on the other side, Warren and Didier. Heisman over the middle. Keith Griffin. A clutch play by Griffin as he was hammered as the ball arrived, but the little halfback able to hang on, a first down at the 25.
Keith Griffin had some trouble hanging on to the football last year, and that kept him in the doghouse. Boy, he does hang on to one with pressure here. He just barely had a hold of that football. Bostic leveling on him. He hangs onto the ball and picks up the first down, and Bostic, who delivered the blow, I think may have hurt himself in the process.
Griffin on 4th down and 2 gets the first down, and Bostic, the man who applied the hit, a little slow now as they attend to him.
Job done by little Joe Washington, now being done by Keith Griffin here.
Other scores, Bears and New England, 10-0 Chicago. 24-14, the Cardinals have opened a 10-point lead over the Bengals. 12 third-quarter scores, and look at that. The Lions now lead Dallas 19-0. 21-3, the Jets over the Bills. 10-6 Rams in Philadelphia. Haven't been any scoring there for quite a while now. Miami has opened a 16-7 advantage against the Colts. And you're up to date. Here it is 16-13 Washington. First down at the Houston 25. Griffin squirting forward for 3 or more. Johnny Meads led the tacklers, and it is, you pointed out early, Merlin, they've got the big power guys and Riggins and Rogers. Then you put in this little jitterbugging type of halfback Griffin, and he just picking his holes and darting through.
I think he'd be hard to see back in there again on that last play. The Redskins running what they call tray right or tray left, where they pull both of the offside linemen all the way across in front of that play. That means that they have all those big bodies leading that sweep around the end.
Monk and Mohammed, the wide receivers, both to the left. 2nd and 6. Griffin running in that direction. Breaks 2 tackles, but Avon Riley got a good grasp of him, and then there was plenty of help. Robert Lyles, Rod Cush coming up from the secondary for a loss against the Redskins.
This Houston defense, which has had such great trouble over the last few years, even though they're giving up yardage today, have impressed me with their big plays and their aggressiveness. Well, I tell you, they are all over this field. Has to be pleasing for Hugh Campbell, although what he'd like to see now is a turnover, something Dallas did to Washington last week. They've gotten 1 so far today. They'd like another one here.
This is 3rd down and 10 plus. Another fumble, and the Oilers have it at the 38-yard line. Actually, there's going to be a penalty. That was a fumble recovery and then a forward lateral. As Bostic went forward, the man on the ground had tossed him the ball forward, so they'll penalize the Oilers, but it is Houston's ball, as once again, quick as Theismann is, he could not beat the pressure from the backside.
That's Rod Cush, number 37, coming in from the backside. You'll see it here again from the blind side of Theismann. He gets out, rolls out, but look at that, look at the speed there. That's the turnover that the Oilers were looking for.
Mike Stensrud was the man who recovered the fumble, and Stensrud, realizing he wasn't about to sprint 70 yards with it, tossed it off to Bostic, but he tossed it illegally forward.
Alan, that's a dangerous play. I'm sure that's one that not only will he regret throwing it forward, but you don't want to take a chance. You get the big turnover, you don't want to give it back.
Houston will begin at the 29-yard line as they've recovered their 2nd Theismann fumble with 3:01 remaining. 3rd quarter, we have a timeout at RFK in Washington, a 3-point game. The fumble recovery, Warren Moon to his tight end Jamie Williams, just short yardage to the 31, a gain of a couple. The Redskins, who have always been on that plus side with Joe Gibbs and the giveaway takeaway. In fact, 2 years ago, remember, they were a plus 43 incredible, and last year they were plus 15. But on Monday night against Dallas, They turned it over 7 times to only 1 takeaway, so that's a -6. And today, they've lost 2 fumbles, the only turnovers of the game, so they're a -8 in the first 2 weeks of this season. Not a good statistic. It looked like a mix-up in the backfield, and finally Moon sorted out things and handed it off to his big fullback Edwards for short yardage. Let's now go to Bob Costas in NFL 85.
Okay, Dick, after trailing the Bengals 14-7, the Cardinals have come back to claim a 24-14 lead. Familiar combination here. Lomax to Green, a beautiful fingertip catch by Roy Green. 24-14 Cards in the third.
1 minute 53 seconds remaining here at RFK, Bob, where the Oilers have rallied from 16-0 down. 3rd and long. Moon broken up by Vernon Dean. Mike Holston, the intended receiver, and a good defensive play by the cornerback Dean, who led the Skins last year with 7 interceptions.
Trying to pick on Dean out there, but again, that pass slightly off target. Holston had to reach back for it, and that's twice today that Dean has been there just in time. But I believe in both cases, had the ball been out in front of the receiver, they would have been completed.
Well, it was the good pass rush on Moon that didn't give him time to really set and lead his receiver. He had to unload.
Well, they put Charles Mann on the nose that time, brought him inside.
End over end, one of the poor kicks, but it should take a good bounce, and does. Out of bounds inside the 25, mark it at the 23 for Lee Johnson, and a timeout goes with it. 1:28 left, third quarter. RFK, how do you figure it? They just showed the score, 19-0. Dallas, after beating Washington by 30, losing by 19 to Detroit today.
Dick, I got to figure it's emotion. We've talked a lot about it today, but they obviously spent a week celebrating and had a hard time getting back to concentrating on football, and they're paying the price for it right now.
And Washington getting the early and easy lead, 16-0. They're in a struggle with these young Oilers. 16-13, Redskin ball at the 23. 44-yard punt by Johnson. Theismann throws it away. Closest man to that was Jay Schrader, his backup quarterback, number 10. He wasn't going to wait for any footsteps from the backside. Theismann is kind of looking around to make sure that there's nothing chasing him.
Well, he's been leveled twice from the backside on the blitz today. He's looking to the sideline now, and I watched Joe Gibbs. The minute that pass went incomplete, glancing down to his list, see what he's going to pick up. Says he tries to stay one play ahead. What do we do if we make a good gain on this play? What if we don't make any gain? In that case, 2nd and long, goes to the 2nd and long package.
Didier going the other way. Normally he doesn't go in motion wide. Theismann goes the other way. Too long. Calvin Muhammad, he had a step. But Theismann just missed him. Patrick Allen on the coverage.
Speed is such a precious commodity. Patrick Allen really stretching to the limits, and when you play bump and run, you better be able to run.
And the intended receiver, Calvin Muhammad. We were talking about winning on What's My Line. How many football players do you know majoring in music in college and an outstanding classical trombonist is Muhammad, who can play just about every instrument created? You see the Cardinals lead cut to 7 by Cincinnati, and that the Lions have already added another touchdown against Dallas to lead 26-0. Jesse Baker, flags are down. Another flag down, and so is Theismann at the 30-yard line. 2 flags down, and Theismann tackled at the 30. That would be short of the first down if indeed the play counts.
All that laundry out there, those officials going to have a hard time if they want to blow their noses, Dick.
Well, let's see, says Gordon McCarter.
Holding, number 73, offense.
Mark May.
Holding, 24 on the defense. Penalties offset. Repeat the down.
Well, the play it over. Steve Brown was guilty of a hold as well.
Whole lot of work for nothing. Go back and do it again.
Mets are winning, and Toronto, oh boy, that would be a big one for the Blue Jays. All you fans that follow us here throughout Canada. Your Blue Jays 6-0 at New York in the third inning. If they win that one, just about too tough hill to climb for the Yankees, who have been tough at home, but the Blue Jays trying to take 3 out of 4. Ball at the 23-yard line, 3rd and 10 for Washington. Deep drop. Theismann to the sidelines, intercepted. Steve Brown is going to score a touchdown. Brown gives Houston a 16. Well, they go ahead now, 19-16. And there was the earlier pressure paying off for Houston as Theismann forcing the ball. A flag is down, and they're going to call it back. Will it negate the play, or does the interception count? We'll soon learn.
I think it's after the interception. I think it was an illegal block, which won't take the ball away from them, but will take the touchdown away from them. And Theismann, bitten again after such a brilliant first half, bitten by the turnover bug.
Illegal block, swept away from behind. Number 25 on the return, 10-yard penalty, first down.
So Bostic trying to help out his teammate Steve Brown. A block in the back.
You'll get a chance to watch the left side of your screen. Bostic is number 25. Well, got a few scratches in there to help. Look at him down the sideline. We can't see Bostic here coming in. Well, there he is. Left-hand sideline again. It looked like it was way away from the play. That's a dumb foul, really.
I didn't see the block, in fact. Moon. Oh, he threw into a crowd, and a flag is down. Jamie Williams covered by Tony Peters and Curtis Jordan.
I think we've got interference. At least Tim Smith thinks it's interference against the Redskins.
Smith was deeper downfield.
There is no penalty. The quarterback had left the pocket. Therefore, the contact by the defensive back was legal. No foul.
Now that's the penalty that goes with a mobile quarterback. Once you leave the pocket, you're considered a runner. And therefore, all those interference possibilities are a race for the defense.
Warren Moon looking to the sideline for a call. He can call a lot of his own, can and does call a lot of his own plays. If he wants to make the call, he signals to the sideline, and he goes ahead and calls a play.
After the interception by Brown, this is 2nd and 10 at the 26 of Washington. The Redskins lead 16-13, final seconds, third quarter. Moon throws ahead, incomplete. Are they going to call that a pass? It's not a fumble. It's an incomplete pass, and it's legal to throw a ball underhanded as well as overhanded, and Moon had the presence of mind. Well, we saw Fran Tarkenton do that many a time and complete a short pass, and indeed, had it been caught upfield, that had been a big play for the Oilers.
Amazing the way he scrambles and tries to make things happen, that he doesn't have more turnovers. The Oilers have avoided the turnover today. Moon gets hit here, shows you good athletic ability, getting away from the rush. But as he's going to the ground, just flips that ball. Look how close that came to being a completion. And Woolfolk had a chance at it, but could not come up with it.
3rd and 10. Crowd on its feet here in Washington. Draw play. And not much there for Stanley Edwards from the University of Michigan, where he teamed with Butch Woolfolk in a Rose Bowl team, and win for Bo Schembechler, and now a long field goal attempt for Tony Zendejas.
Excuse me, Dick. The one advantage that Zendejas had over Mosley in their competition was in the extremely long field goal range. Zendejas a little more power from that sidewinder style than Mosley does from the straight-up position.
It'll be a 42 or 43-yarder when we come back for the start of the fourth quarter. That's the end of 3 periods at RFK in the nation's capital, where the score is the Redskins 16, Oilers 13. Back after these words, your local station. 43-yard attempt to tie by Zendejas, and he doesn't get it. Wide to the left. We talked about emotions, Merlin. There's a interception for touchdown called back on penalty, and then the Oilers don't get the 3.
Zendejas hooking this ball, and a lot of times when the kick is too clean, when they get too much leg into it, they'll hook that ball just like you would hook a golf ball. It comes wide to the left, and Zendejas has missed his first regular season field goal as an Oiler, and what a costly miss.
So the Redskins maintain their lead, 16-13. Muhammad in motion from the 25. Movement on that right side of the Redskin line appeared to be Mark May. And that'll cost Washington 5.
Mix-up over there as May obviously did not get the count.
Number 73, offense.
Now we talked about mistakes, and you'd expect the young team, the inexperienced team, to make the bulk of the mistakes. But today, the Redskins, the veteran team, have made more than their share of costly errors. They dodged a bullet on that last one as they get away with the interception. Don't have the touchdown scored, and then end up getting the missed field goal. Let's see what Theismann can do now.
On 1st and 15. Play action. Boy, Calvin Muhammad drilled about a 3-yard play. Steve Brown made the tackle, and let's throw the pass now to Bob Costas.
Dick, in the third quarter at the Meadowlands, the Jets lead the Bills 28-3, and Freeman McNeil is running wild. He scored 2 touchdowns and has 173 yards rushing on the day. This gallop covers 69 yards. Watch the way Martin Bayless hits him at the end. The Jets didn't appreciate it. It precipitated a fight.
Freeman McNeil, did he have 69 yards, or did the Jets have 69 the whole game against the Raiders last week? What a rebound for New York. Second down, and the throw to Monk, who fumbles the ball, but he was out of bounds. He was out of bounds when he fumbled it. He'd already skidded out of bounds, and that saves the Pumpkin. Keeps it in Washington possession as Bostic headed the other way with it.
Joe Gibbs told us in his office yesterday they can't survive. He said our offensive style cannot survive the turnovers. And Monk almost gets it again as he comes across in motion. Now watch him break to the outside. In motion that way, it's very difficult to cover him. The touch on the sideline, you'll see it in this count right here. Ooh, boy. Looked like he may have been on the ground. Now, if he's not touched and goes to the ground on his own, then he is not down. Well,
tough call along the sidelines. Was he out of bounds when he lost it? No, it wasn't.
Not a good angle for us.
3rd and 3 for Theismann. And he's got the first down at the 41, and a flag is down as well. Terrific catch by Muhammad. Well covered on those sidelines. Now let's check the yellow flag.
We may well have had some extracurricular activity. Looked like a little scuffling going on away from the ball.
Holding against Houston.
5-yard penalty. I think they'll probably refuse it and go ahead and take the first down.
Patrick Allen.
Declined. The game is greater. First down.
I believe it was Allen holding before Muhammad caught the ball. It was in that play on the far sidelines. St. Louis by 10 over the Bengals in the 4th quarter.
They won't cheer about that here in Washington. St. Louis showing its stripes as a real competitor in this NFC East.
They're trying to become 2-0 early. 49-yard field goal by Neil O'Donohue. Rogers, Bostic finally cutting in from his safety spot to bring down the big tailback, 229 pounds, George Washington Rogers. With a name like that, you belong.
You do belong in Washington. Well, he's coming up slowly off the ground. We may see Riggins here. Now we're going to see Keith Griffin as Rogers goes back down to the ground. Trainer's out quickly.
Redskins have to hope that's a cramp and not a knee. He's had a big day, 80 yards, including a 31-yard touchdown run in the first quarter. Timeout, 13 minutes remaining at RFK. George Rogers assisted off the field. See, he's single-handedly gained more than twice as many yards as the entire Oiler rushing game today. Will pass along any report we receive from the sidelines. It is 2nd down and 7, and Keith Griffin has replaced Rogers. And he gets the call. Ooh. Stop at the 45. Push again along with number 59, John Grimsley, Kentucky, to make the tackle. Grimsley, a hitter. They like the way he plays. He comes from a football background, Canton, Ohio, Hall of Fame city.
He's been in there in place of Avon Riley. Oilers rotating a lot of personnel, keeping these young players in the game, giving them a chance to stay fresh and letting everyone be involved. That's part of this team concept that Hugh Campbell is instituting down there in Houston.
Well, it happened once in the first half, again in the second half. Joe Theismann forced to spend a timeout. Some confusion in the huddle with 12:26 remaining fourth quarter. They have placed an ice pack in the lower back of George Rogers. He's sidelined for the moment. Keith Griffin has replaced him in the backfield. 3rd down and a long 5. Theismann has a man open but misses Art Monk. Jeff Donaldson on the coverage, and Theismann unhappy with himself. Now that may be failure in communication. That's what happened in Dallas. Was Monk supposed to turn the other way? Based on Theismann's reaction, yes.
Well, you shouldn't miss an experienced receiver like Art Monk. A lot of the problems last week they felt because of the young receivers not communicating, not making their cuts properly. I'm not going to call that one from up here. I'd like to see the film and sit with the two of them, and even then you might get 2 different answers, Dick.
Well, the Oilers are going to get the ball back with 12 minutes plus remaining in the fourth quarter, and the Redskins sheltering a 3-point lead. Jeff Hayes hits a beauty. They'll let that one go all the way into the end zone.
Too good. Oh,
look at how well he made that ball die. It barely moved after he landed in the end zone. Had that been 3 yards shorter, he would have had a honey of a kick. Next Sunday on NBC, here's our lineup. Merlin and I will be down at Texas Stadium for the Browns and the Cowboys. Others of you around the country, others of you will see Denver, Atlanta, Houston at Pittsburgh, San Diego, Cincinnati, New England, and Buffalo. I believe we have a couple of late games. Kansas City, Miami. That's an interesting matchup, in the Jets, Green Bay. So be with us. NFL 85 kicks it off, 12:30 Eastern Time. Gains only a yard to the 21. Curtis Jordan coming up from a safety spot to fill the hole. On 2nd down and 9, Stuart Anderson is in, and out goes Olkowitz.
The Washington defense shifting that offensive line, jumping to an odd man alignment, actually, jumping the Dave Butts down over the center and moving Darrell Grant way out to the right side.
For Holston. Darrell Green stayed with his man. And Holston nearly with a juggling catch. What a throw by Moon. That was a quick trigger, and he just laid it out there.
Fine throw by Moon, and as we have had trouble all day, watch Butts right in the middle. Schumacher's trying to block on him, but he just goes right by Schumacher, and if that pass isn't thrown quickly, Butts is right up in his face, and right at the end, Holston had a chance, reached back, and actually had a hold of that football, but couldn't contain it.
3rd and 9. Moon has a man open, and it is 85 Drew Hill, covered by Vernon Dean and Curtis Jordan, but the Oilers have a first down at their 40-yard line. Let's check elsewhere in the NFL. 20-0 the Bears in the 3rd quarter over the Patriots. Cincinnati has pulled within 7 again at St. Louis in the 4th quarter. That's the big one so far today. The Lions upsetting Dallas 26-0 at the Silverdome. Jets rebounding from a bad loss in Los Angeles, 28-3 over Buffalo. The Rams 10-6 in the 4th at Philadelphia. Miami has just scored. Tony Nathan a 21-yard run to make it 23-7. And here it's a 3-point game. First down Houston at the Oiler 40. A quickie and incomplete to Holston. Vernon Dean on the coverage.
The all-out blitz coming in, and Moon expecting the response from his receiver and really getting it, rifled that shot. if you can hit that quick slant against that blitz, you've got all kinds of room up the middle. Dick, looking at those scores, we've had a Jekyll and Hyde first 2 weeks of the season. Teams that are winning big in 1 week and losing big the second. Other teams losing 1 week and bouncing back and rebounding the second.
And here, Washington was a large favorite today, and they lead by only 3. He's got a man open again. Drew Hill. Drew Hill to the 10-yard line, and a flag is down, and I believe they're going to call it back. And another big gain for Houston apparently will be lost by penalty as Moon hit Hill again.
I've got to tell you, Dick, those last 2 passes by Warren Moon have been thrown when he knew that he was going to get nailed. He had to deliver the ball early. He had to get it on target. He has done that effectively. This one is going to be called back.
Holding, number 76, offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat, second down.
Eric Moran cost the Oilers 51 yards. 51-yard play, called back.
Watch Moon here. Knows he's going to get hit. And look how early he had to throw that ball. Puts it right out there where Hill can drop back to it. That's pinpoint passing under pressure.
Ball would have been at the 9-yard line. Instead, it's second down and 20. 40, and Moon out of bounds at the 48-yard line. So he gained about 18 on that scramble. Barry Wilburn, the rookie from Mississippi, the youngest of the Redskins, was able to wrestle him out of bounds.
That's going to bring up a 3rd and short. Moon did not pick up the first down, but certainly did chew up some nice yardage to get back some of what was lost on the penalty. Look at that yardage rushing. I mentioned he had a 7.2-yard rushing average in preseason. Done even better here today.
That's 47.
That's not the preseason, is it, Dick? It's the preseason.
3rd down, 3. The give, and short of the first down is number 40, Butch Wolfick, as Neil Olkowitz made the tackle. And throughout the course of this game, the Redskins have totally denied Houston any yardage on the ground.
Well, the one thing that has not failed them today is their rushing defense. They have made it tough on Houston. They did it right there again with just good physical performance up front.
Jets have scored again to make it 35-3 against the Bills in the 4th quarter. Rams a field goal to lead 17-6 at Philadelphia. 16-13, Lee Johnson to Rafael Cherry, who stands at the Washington 10. That kid can really kick. I'm impressed. Out of bounds inside the 10 at the 9-yard line. And ladies and gentlemen, Houston has a kicker to remember, Lee Johnson. He's got a foot. Joe Theismann brings his Redskins into the huddle. He's hit 75% of his passes today, 15 for 20, but he has been intercepted once and has fumbled twice trying to pass when blitzed. Starts at the 9-yard line with the Diesel. Riggins behind him. Incomplete to Muhammad. You saw Muhammad start inside, get his man to run with him, and then quickly dart outside, but the pass incomplete.
The Redskins do so much with those men in motion. Tight ends in motion, wide receivers in motion. And what they try and force you to do is to change the calls on your defense. And if they can do that very often because of the noise level in this stadium, they can get some mistakes on the part of the defense.
Joe Gibbs, he has the best record in the NFL the last 3 years, 39-10. Going long, Didier. That pump fake, and there may be a penalty against the Oilers for holding Didier.
Chance to watch one of the premier tight ends in the league with excellent speed working a little magic here. Watch Didier, a little stop and go. He'll just head down the field here and stop it. You get a chance to see it here. Just turns back right here. Now it just pulls that defensive man up. You see the bump right there by Steve Brown, who knew that was his only chance. He couldn't let Didier get free.
Number 24, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So the 5-yard defensive holding penalty against Brown moves the ball out to the 14, and a first down goes with it.
Well, that's the time that Jerry Glanville will say, good choice. Better the 5-yard penalty than the touchdown.
16-13, only a field goal by Houston. That's all the scoring in the second half. Riggins for 4 or 5. Childress and Grimsley with a tackle. Ray Childress. They are hopeful that they can come up with a giant player in the defensive line, that they sense Elvin Bethea and Curly Culp. They really haven't had that man you have to design your offense to stay away from. They think Childress has the potential, not there yet. He was the third man pick behind Smith and Fralick. That play did not fool the Oilers. Rick Walker, at tight end reverse. Johnny Meade staying at home and making the stop at the 20. Where it'll be 3rd down and 4. Brian Socha there as well.
Really a fine play by Johnny Meades, who kept it inside, which is what you have to do on a reverse play, and then actually crawled over the block to get a piece of the tackle. Excellent play by the outside linebacker.
Tony Eason to Craig James, a 90-yard touchdown to give New England its first score against the Bears. Keith Griffin, the only running back. Didier in motion.
Oh, all-out blitz.
They got him. Rod Cush again with 67. Mike Stensrud filtrating, and Cush, he's been coming time and time again from a secondary position, and it pays off once more.
Watch Theismann. They're coming. They've got 10 men on the line. Cush goes right over the top of an attempted block there, gets a piece of him. Mike Stensrud, 67, who's had a good day from his nose tackle position, on top of him. And you see the way his foot tipped up there, Dick? I think he's got a cramp in his leg. I think his leg cramped up on him.
So Jeff Hayes will have to punt, and he'll kick this one from just outside his end zone. That's 5 sacks by the Oiler defense today.
You can catch this one and punt it yourself.
Drury at his 45. Good kick. At the 42, Drury. And he is to the Washington 47-yard line, so the Oilers, trailing by only 3, begin on the Washington half of the field. A 46-yard punt by Hayes, 10 yards on the return by Drury.
There are an awful lot of things, if you're sitting on that Houston sideline right now or at home rooting for those Houston Oilers, that have to please you. The fact that they have not quit in this game, the fact that they have been able to keep the pressure on the Redskins. There's no question that they do not match up physically against these bigger, stronger Redskins, but they have compensated with their aggressiveness and their speed, and they've got a chance here, if they can get it in the end zone, to go ahead.
Moriarty, boy, did he bull over a couple of Redskins and takes it into the 39-yard line. 8 yards for Moriarty, who carries 240 pounds.
They've been hammering and hammering all day long and not getting those shots into the end zone. There's a man who has to feel that maybe his turn will be coming up shortly again. I'm sure disappointed that he missed one. Would love to have a chance to tie this game up.
You saw the good ones he missed from 42. 2nd and 2. Moriarty again, and has the first down just outside the Washington 35. Curtis Jordan with a tackle.
You might ask, why do the Oilers continue to try and run the football when it has not been successful for them? They're feeling they have got to keep the pressure on, even though those runs have not been highly productive, in order to make the passing game work. Once they admit they can't run the football, they allow the Redskins to play entirely different defenses.
That's the first time they've had a first down rushing today. It looks like a broken play. Boy, look at that Moon. He tucks it away like a halfback. He's not looking to go down or run out of bounds. He turns a broken play into a sizable gain.
I think that's the one big advantage that you get with the mobile quarterback. A play that, well, with a quarterback who can't run, ends up costing you yardage. Moon just takes it, tucks it away, and I believe if you timed Moon in about a 40-yard, he'd be somewhere around 4.5, 4.6. Showed you that good speed outside, but that's got to scare the heck out of a coach on the sideline. Hugh Campbell has said, "Oh, please, let's not get him hurt."
That puts the Oilers in field goal range, and they have a first down. Underneath, and it's complete, but a flag down. Butch Wolfolk with a reception, but we may have a motion penalty. It's the call. That'll take away 5 and send the Oilers back 5.
Those are costly penalties.
Zendejas looks as if he's trying to get out of jail there.
Yeah, I've got to feel that way a little bit, even though he's made a couple of kicks.
First down and 15 for the Oilers. Moon running the show in that open huddle.
Now, there are the penalties, and there are some mistakes. Now, that certainly categorizes mistakes a lot more for the Oilers than the Redskins.
Got a man open. That's Drew Hill again on the sidelines, and Hill has really worked on Vernon Dean, and Dean playing him loosely, and Moon throwing quickly underneath the coverage, and he has another good gain.
Realistic evaluation of this Redskin defensive backfield. The weakness still at those cornerbacking positions, in particular Vernon Dean. Drew Hill, as you saw, has been very aggressive. Although Dean has made some excellent plays today, they have been getting after it.
11 yards on that throw. 2nd and 4. Moriarty in a big hole. The fullback has a first down just outside the 10-yard line. Curtis Jordan may have saved a touchdown.
Chance to watch it at home from the end zone. They'll start it to the right and cut it back against the grain. Tremendous blocking over there. Moriarty showing you his power, but they've stayed with the running game. They haven't given it up, and finally they're getting some dividends.
Houston has to go the full 10 yards for the touchdown. This is Rozier for a loss. Monty Colvin, number 51. Loss of a yard.
It's interesting to talk to Hugh Campbell about the difference between his tailbacks, Rozier and Wolfolk. He said Rozier is more likely to get the yards that aren't there. Well, there wasn't yardage there. He didn't get it. I mean, there was 0-0 on that one.
2nd down 11. Rozier 2 carries for a -3. 4.5 minutes left in the game. Moon almost intercepted, then almost caught by Rozier and Williams. Jamie Williams, number 87. Stuart Anderson was there for Washington.
When you watch quarterbacks, you get a feeling for the strength of their throwing arm. Warren Moon off balance, out of position, being chased from behind, yet he throws a strike with tremendous power, threw it right through a defensive man's hands. Watch that throw. That's a that's a fastball right there. That's a zipper.
Warren Moon, a Rose Bowl star, University of Washington, not drafted by the NFL. Went to the Canadian Football League. Flag down. And will it count? Tim Smith in the end zone, but I believe once again the Oilers, this would be the 2nd touchdown that they've lost because of a penalty. Illegal procedure. So Hugh Campbell's young Oilers have lost 2 touchdowns. One, Steve Brown's interception that was called back after he had gone in the end zone, and this one denied.
Illegal shift, offense. Man was going in legal motion while the linemen were getting set. That is an illegal shift. Repeat the down, still 3rd.
Understand that. The linemen have to be set, then you can send the man in motion. Look at that, 106 yards. That doesn't tell the story. Take a -14 points away because of those penalties.
And Warren Moon has to be asking, what do I have to do to get those points on the board?
May have helped create that penalty. Hard to hear. thought he had a touchdown. What a catch.
An incredible catch in the corner of the end zone. You can't ask more from a passing combination. There's pressure again. Moon throws a rifle shot, but watch Drew's feet. 1 foot down.
Oh. That looked like a touchdown. But we'll try to see that one again. This is the last Tony Zendejas kick that he hooked wide to the left. This one will be now live from shorter range. They're going to mark it at the 23-yard line, a 33-yard attempt. If successful, Zendejas will tie the game. And he's looking right into a crowd, shaking those pom-poms to try to distract him. And I believe the Oilers are going to call time. That'll give us a chance to look at that touchdown try by Houston that was not allowed. A tough call, to be sure. But from that last angle, looked as if Hill had a touchdown.
Now, you've got to control the football and get both feet down. Control, one. And I believe he got them both down, Dick. I believe he got that toe down before he went out of bounds. We can't see his foot touching the ground, but it sure looks to me like it was down.
Well, I guess the official might have been guilty of not understanding total acrobat at work, because for instance, there's a position. Can we see that again? Just with incredible. Thank you, Larry Cirillo and Ted Nathanson. If we can just stop it right as both toes are down, is it humanly possible? Well, there's still a timeout here, and Zendejas is just studying here. He's got another 30 seconds. He's made good 44-35, and he's missed from 42 yards. Here it is again. Now watch well how talented an athlete this is. I mean, he's one of many in the NFL. The human body is it a marvelous. Look at that right there. He's got the ball still off the ground and both toes hanging like he's well, the last to leave ship.
But what a tough call for an official who has to try and be able to see the control of the football and the toes coming down.
And we're watching it in slow motion.
We're seeing it in slow motion. We do have the benefit of that.
Now Zendejas to try to tie it. With 4 minutes plus remaining. No good. It hit the upright. He may have compensated too much after hooking left. He had that one straight all the way, but straight on the right upright.
And how many times you'll see a kicker coming off the field after a costly miss, and everyone turn their backs on him. Not so on the Oilers sideline. One of the first people there to greet him, his coach. And you see Zendejas' reaction. No question, he's disappointed about that. Costly miss.
Redskins have dodged another bullet, and now it's Riggins. 15 yards for the Diesel. Two penalties for the Oilers have cost 2 touchdowns, and then the ensuing field goal tries were missed by Zendejas. They well could be ahead by 3 or much more.
Rod Cush leaving the field, grabbing a hamstring on that last play.
Riggins again. Only a couple this time. Ray Childress, well, when he gets you, even Riggins doesn't go much farther.
Good play by the #1 choice, and the Redskins have really tried to hammer in behind the right side of their line today. With Russ Grimm out of the lineup, had some back spasms. They put R.C. Thielemann in there. Thielemann, a fine guard, but is just getting comfortable with all the plays that the Redskins run. So they've used the right side of their line to try and get the action today. Ken Huff and big Mark May over there.
2 minutes and 50 seconds left in the half. The reverse to Monk. First down at the Oiler 48. 19 yards on the reverse and a first down at the 48 with 2:42 left in the game.
We've seen Monk run that play both sides now, and really what the Redskins are trying to do is take advantage of the very quick pursuit by the Houston Oilers defense. Get them going one way and come back in the other direction.
16-13 Washington. Riggins. Oh, you could just see his body bouncing as he was hit from both sides. Keith Bostic, 25. John Grimsley, 59. 31, Jeff Donaldson. That may take it up to the 2-minute warning. Tony Zendejas making good on his first two, and here in the second half, missing from 42 and 33 yards. Time called by, I believe, the Oilers to stop the clock at the 2:22 mark. So anticipating that Theismann, and undoubtedly he would have run the clock down to 2 minutes without using a play, Houston spends a timeout. So each team has 2 remaining.
This is where that very physical Washington team will try to go to that power running game to control the clock and the scoreboard. And gosh, Moon has had such an outstanding day. I don't think he's hanging his head in despair. I think he's trying to think through the options of what can be done. Still counting on his defense to get him one more shot. I'll tell you, this is a player. We know that.
Check that. Houston has 1 timeout left. The Washington Redskins with 2. No question today that the Redskins in their running game have missed the blocking of Russ Grimm, who has not played their all-pro left guard. Of course, Jeff Bostic is also hurt. And Jacoby out for a few plays. They ran out a 16-0 lead, did Washington, to find the Oilers coming back at the half 16-10, an early field goal 16-13, and 2 touchdowns called back by penalty against Houston in the second half. First final of the day. Dieter Brock, who used to oppose Warren Moon up in the CFL, leads the Rams to their second win in 2 weeks. 17-6 final at Philadelphia.
You know, we don't talk much about it, or haven't in this game, but Theismann has Canadian roots as well.
That's
Played
right.
some Canadian football before he came to the Redskins.
That's right, with Toronto. Reagan's down short of the first down at the 39. And another timeout called.
Boy, that Redskin offensive line just bulldozing, pushing blue shirts back. And there you see the telltale. Well, that's the tail of the tape right there. 242 yards, those 82 yards by the Oilers, much of that coming in this final stanza.
A flag down as they unpile. Left in the midst is a yellow flag. Whether that is a penalty, at least there's been no signal yet at the 2:16 mark.
Well, Avon Riley pointing over to the Redskins. They're asking the coach if they should pick up the foul, accept it. I think they probably will, because it was a fine gain by Riggins. Here's the call.
Holding, number 69 on the offense, penalty accepted. Repeat, second down.
So R.C.
Houston
Thielemann,
wants to charge
acquired from Atlanta. So the Oilers called time too quickly with a penalty down. They used a timeout that they would rather have saved, so they are out of timeouts. They have to stop Washington, and then if they are successful, move offensively without the assistance of a timeout. Well, while we have a break, let's run down the baseball action from this Sunday. 2 weeks from the end of the season. In the 8th inning, the Mets still lead by 3 against Montreal, while the Cardinals and Cubs are tied at 1. The Dodgers lead Cincinnati 6-1 in the 6th. Toronto with a big 6-0 lead at Yankee Stadium, trying to take 3 out of 4 against a team that had the best home record in baseball, the Yankees, at Yankee Stadium. Kansas City and Oakland are playing a doubleheader. First game, no score in the second, and the Angels and Rangers a bit later out in Anaheim. Of course, our baseball game of the week next Saturday at 1 o'clock. On to the National and American League playoffs. They'll be covered here on NBC Sports. Yankees and Orioles, Expos and Cardinals. That's the lineup at 1 o'clock next Saturday. And then, of course, a full lineup of NFL action on Sunday. Merlin and I will be down to check on the Dallas Cowboys, who apparently will be licking some wounds after what is happening in Detroit. They'll be hosting the Cleveland Browns. The Browns in Pittsburgh in the Monday night game tomorrow. 2nd and 11. Riggins runs right into 91, Johnny Means. Meads from Nicholls State. And Jesse Baker as well, and the clock will tick down to the 2-minute timeout. And there it is. 2 minutes remaining. When we come back, it'll be 3rd down, 15 for Washington. Mark Mosley, 37 years of age, accepted and won the challenge from Tony Zendejas in the summer. Zendejas let go on a trade to Houston, and he made his first 4, 2 for 2 last week and the first 2 today, but has missed 2 makeables here in the second half after the Oilers had lost touchdowns by penalty, and that is why the Redskins have a 3-point lead. 2 minutes left. Washington ball at the Redskin 46-yard line, 3rd down and 15, and it figures that Theismann will have to throw.
Got to believe he'll put it up in the air, and when you look back through the text of this game, you have to be impressed with what this Oiler team has done against the Redskins in their home park.
Big play. If Washington gets a first down, they can run out the clock. Baker was offside. And Griffin is brought down. A flag down that would have stopped the Redskins and forced a punt, but Jesse Baker ran offside.
The flag, obviously, you would think the flag would have come from this side. The flag was thrown on the far side of the field.
Another mistake by Houston, and when they add up things in the camp of the Oilers, penalties will be a big part of the story today.
Offside. Defensive right tackle, 5 yards, repeat, 3rd down.
Well, I think he means right in. It was Baker. You could see him moving clearly before the snap of the ball. Eager to get in there, and that makes Theismann's job easier as he gets to a 3rd and 11.
It was an interesting call, though, wasn't it? They were going to run the ball on 3rd and 15.
That doesn't make sense to me, Dick.
3rd down, 11. Keith Griffin is the setback. And they give it to him again. And he does not have the first down at the 43-yard line, but the clock is running, and maybe perhaps that's part of the thinking, that they have to use a lot of time here. Now they can spend another 30 seconds, and Houston can't stop them.
That's not the kind of call you make if you don't have great confidence in your defense. I think what they're hoping to do is pin Houston all the way down in their end of the field, and then say, hey, you got less than 2 minutes. You prove to us you can go down there and score. If you can, you deserve to win the game.
And they'll let the clock run down. 30 seconds all the way now. It's at 7, 6, 112, 111, 110 left.
They may take the penalty here, getting as much off the clock as possible. They'll do it. It doesn't really matter to Jeff Hayes whether he kicks from the 42 or whether the ball's at the 42 or the 47. He can, in fact, he's probably better off to be able to turn it loose back a little further.
Boy, the New York Jets are going to be pleased with their running game today. Freeman McNeil, we understand, has rushed for nearly 200 yards in that game against the Bills. That back here to Hugh Campbell and the Oilers. No timeout, so it'll be Warren Moon trying to use the sidelines, maybe go for the bomb. Oh, he'd like to have that one timeout they used when they didn't need to. There was a penalty on the play, but that certainly is at the best a second guess.
We're very likely to see what they call their big four, the speed receivers, once we get into this long yardage situation.
10 men on the line of scrimmage. We'll see if they go after Hayes.
I don't think there's any question about that, Dick.
Oh, just did get it away. The man in there was Richard Johnson. Fair catch by Drury at the 14-yard line. We'll be back. 59 seconds left. A 3-point game. Moon dropped for a loss, and the clock will run. They'll give a few seconds off until Moon gets up, but then they'll wind it up again, as Moon could not find a man deep, and Dexter Manley found Moon.
Just could not find the receiver, had to pull it down. Good job by the secondary of the Washington Redskins.
16-13 Washington. 40 seconds remaining in the game. intercepted and then through the hands after Dell Green could not get it. Drew Hill got a hand on it, but not enough. Boy, and you think back, Merlin, 2 penalties cost the Oilers a touchdown, and then the play by Drew Hill where the replay at least indicates that Hill had an argument that that was a touchdown. That's 3 scores that Houston will go home without. Third down and long. 35 seconds left. Intended for Jamie Williams. And now Moon and the Oilers look at 4th down. 4th and 12.
Well, how many plays do you have in your book for 4th and 12 with 29 seconds on the clock?
Miami has beaten the Colts 30-13, so the Dolphins 1-1. One thing we can say about Hugh Campbell's Oilers, this team that was considered, well, their theme was from worst to first. They weren't very good last year, but they're getting healthy in a hurry. This team's going to be a threat to a lot of folks. It is not a safety, but it is Washington's ball at the 1-yard line. Charles Mann with a sack. Manley with an assist. So this one is history. It'll just be a matter of whether the Redskins add a touchdown to their lead of 16-13.
It's all rather academic at this point as they're able to get in and take Moon down with no opportunity now. The Redskins and their fans can celebrate this victory.
Change of possession. I don't know why the clock would be running, but maybe that's not the official clock.
Now they're stopping it. They're saying it's not supposed to run there.
Really doesn't matter. It would take a totally absurd play for somehow to be bounced in the hands of the Oilers, but who knows what can happen.
Well, it's
On 4th down, it's a change of possession play. There's 22 seconds remaining in the game. 1st down, goal to go.
So 22 seconds rather than the 9 seconds that had shown.
Well, we'll wind it back. And it'll be interesting to see whether the Redskins actually try to score on this play. They may just cover it up and let the clock start to run, knowing that the game is theirs.
That would seem to be the right play, but Theismann is a man that is reluctant to do that sort of thing.
Well, they have too many people on the field.
They got one of them off, and
there it is.
And there it is, the end of the game. The final seconds tick away. Outstanding game defensively on both sides, and the mettle of this young Oiler team measured by the fact that they had Washington in trouble throughout the second half, but could not beat the veteran Redskins and Joe Gibbs. Tony Zendejas had a chance twice to tie it. He and kicker Jeff Hayes, that wasn't Mosley to come over to say tough luck. Final score, Washington 16, Houston 13. Merlin Olsen, Dick Enberg, so long from Washington. The Redskins win by 3.